What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 13 LF Chapter 161 Xia Luo's Dragon Form, Shocked Marine. Well, I just noticed that this kind of powerful animal is completely inconsistent with its size. This kind of strength is like facing a super large sea king's. Garp nodded and agreed. He knew Sengoku's power, but the power of this dragon-shaped creature was able to fight against Sengoku and send him flying away. This was not achieved by Haki's blessing, but real power. That's not the most troublesome thing. This creature has not yet shown its power of thunder and lightning. It is just a simple physical body that is so troublesome, and those wings can also use the swordsmanship of that guy Haki. Sengoku needs to have a deeper understanding. He clearly feels that the other party has not yet used all his strength. At least that weird power of thunder and lightning hasn't really been revealed yet, it's just accelerated by the thunder and lightning calendar. It is indeed a legendary creature, it is indeed extraordinary. Garp sighed. This is not a mutant dinosaur, it is a real phantom beast-like creature. This dragon is equivalent to a person eating the phantom beast seed fruit. If it didn't behave like a human, its swordsmanship talent alone and the intelligence is no less than that of human beings, I thought it was what humans have become. Sengoku said with a serious expression. Do I need a different opponent? Garp asked. No, I'm not so old that I can't even beat an animal. That's good. I thought old man you were too rusty to fight in this position. Garp grinned. Seeing that Sengoku was not affected by being knocked down once, he also made a little joke. Don't hurt me Garp, for the sake of justice, I will also defeat these criminals. The two looked at each other and smiled. Have you finished chatting? If so, it's time for us to attack. Xia Luo and Xiao Yin just waited quietly for them to finish speaking, looking extremely gentlemanly and polite. Of course, this is what Xia Luo thinks. Sengoku and Garp don't buy it. Kid, you must know that you are facing the two oldest veterans in Marine now. Don't think that the previous strength is all our strength. Next, we will let you see our true strength, Sengoku and Garp said in perfect agreement, with smiles on their faces as they looked at Xia Luo. The long-lost feeling appeared in both of them. That was hot blood, the hot blood that often appeared when they were young. It had been a long time since they had experienced this feeling. I'm really looking forward to the full strength of these two Marine veteran-level veterans. If that's the case, then I'll do my best. Xia Luo raised the corners of her mouth slightly and said in a leisurely tone. Garp and Sengoku suddenly became alert. According to the records, Xia Luo's strongest and most commonly used swordsmanship has not yet been used. Is that the swordsmanship used by the great pirate of the old era, Golden Lion Haki? Xiao Jin? 2. DX. Xia Luo called softly, and the latter immediately chirped in response. It's coming. Be careful. Garp reminded. Sengoku also looked at Xia Luo and Xiao Yin solemnly. Xia Luo's right hand slowly brushed his smooth blonde hair. His short hair was combed into a big back, and then the short hair began to proliferate and turned into wild and messy long hair. Xia Luo's limbs and face also changed. A thick tail sprouted from his tail, and his body was covered in black armor like scales. His face has turned into a dragon head like Xiao Yin, and two horns have grown out of his forehead. Except for the long golden hair behind him, Xia Luo can be said to be a completely different person now. The fiery red dragon energy and lightning filled his whole body, and Xia Luo seemed to be in a magical land. Xiaoyan also stood behind Xia Luo, spreading its wings. Like Xia Luo, red dragon energy and thunder covered its whole body. One is in dragon form, and the other is in dragon human form. One person and one dragon show very similar appearances and have the same abilities. Xia Luo and Xiaoyan's Conqueror's Haki also swept everyone present. The Vice Admiral of the main department resisted this wave of Conqueror's Haki and couldn't help but kneel on one knee to support him. Not to mention those ordinary pirates and sailors who resisted, Conquerors had already made them all unconscious the moment he passed them by. Although Xia Luo and Xiaoyan did not deliberately release Conqueror's range, they still. Some people were affected, and only the Marine soldiers a little further away were still conscious. Now Garp and Sengoku were really stunned. Not only were they stunned, but everyone who was still standing was also stunned. Including Whitebeard and his sons, as well as the two Admirals Aokiji and Kizaru, plus the Vice Admirals of Naval Headquarters. Sengoku and Garp opened their mouths wide enough to hold their fists inside. What did they see? Xia Luo transformed. He turned into a dragon man in the form of a fantasy beast. Just like the dragon next to him. He already has the power of lion fruit. It is impossible for him to eat a devil fruit again, but now he shows a form that is suspected of being a zone phantom beast demon fruit power in front of our eyes. The most important thing is, that dragon behind him. He actually knows Conqueror's Haki. This is so unscientific. Conqueror's Haki, a god-given talent like a natural one, can actually appear in an animal. The Conquerors shown by Xiao Yin is very similar to Xia Luo, even the breath is different. There are not many similarities, it can be said that the two of them are like replicas. And Xia Luo also has the same lightning ability as that dragon. In other words, he can also use that kind of lightning to increase his speed and enhance his attack. No matter how Xia Luo did it, you can tell with your own eyes that he is much stronger now than in his previous state. Hey, Sengoku, have you ever seen anyone with 2 devil fruit powers at the same time? Garp asked in confusion with cold sweat streaming down his forehead. Xia Luo's current appearance really breaks their common sense. Are you kidding me? It's not like you don't know the fate of a person who eats 2 devil fruits on the ocean. The fact that he can become like this and possess this ability probably has something to do with that dragon. The same is true for Sengoku, but with his wisdom he can analyze some information from it. From the fact that Xia Luo's form is similar to that of the celestial comet dragon and has the same abilities, it can be seen that the dragon's problem is either eating the devil fruit or not. Is this what fantasy creatures are capable of? It actually allows people to share the abilities of others. He finally understood why Tian Weilong could use Shiki's sword skills. It should be the skills he obtained from Xia Luo. It's tricky. 2 powerful people and dragons with interconnected abilities and skills. They really can't do anything to them for a while. Ink, coming over. Sengoku reminded. On the opposite side, red light and thunder and lightning burst out from the mouths of Xia Luo and Tian Weilong at the same time. Xia Luo and Xiao Yin just opened their mouths to Garp and Sengoku. The 2 of them felt a feeling of being stared at by a ferocious beast at the same time, and their backs felt a little chilly. No matter what they want to do, it's not a good thing. This is an extremely powerful move. You all stand back. Sengoku shouted loudly to the marine soldiers around him and behind him. The confused marine soldiers immediately reacted and fled from their original positions. No matter how stupid they are, they still understand that Xia Luo is using an extremely dangerous move. Like pacifists, Xiao Yin and Xia Luo sprayed huge red powerful currents from their mouths. The 2 roaring energies merged together to form an even greater roaring dragon cannon. Garp! Sengoku yelled. Got it, Garp immediately Kaido. Both men's fists were covered in thick conquerors and armament Haki at the same time. Facing the roar of destruction from Xia Luo and Xiao Yin, the 2 gritted their teeth and pushed forward. Both Sengoku and Garp's fists formed a white transparent energy shield. Who? Neither of them called out the name of any move. Punch and palm hit thunder roar. At first, Sengoku and Garp were able to hold on to a stalemate, but as Xia Luo and Xiao Yin continued to strengthen, they were gradually pushed out of a ravine. Sengoku and Garp's expressions gradually became ferocious. The 2 of them gritted their teeth at the same time and pushed forward in the direction of Xia Luo. He actually pushed forward a little despite the roars of Xia Luo and Xiao Yin. Kid, don't underestimate us. The 2 roared at the same time, advancing faster and faster, and then the impact of their fists interrupted the roars of Xia Luo and Xiao Yin. Boom! A huge explosion occurred in the center of the 4 people. Xia Luo and Xiao Yin fell into a state of immobility because of the explosion. The smoke cleared. The determined faces of Garp and Sengoku were revealed. The marine soldiers cheered when they saw their figures. As expected of a marine veteran, I admit that I did underestimate you. Xia Luo wiped the corners of her still smoking mouth and said slowly. I thought that together with Xiao Yin, I would be invincible, but I didn't expect that I would be slapped in the face today. Asterisk asterisk asterisk, kid, I told you, Naval Headquarters is not a place for you to run wild, Sengoku said in a deep voice. So handsome. Marshal Sengoku. Any evil will be brought to justice. The remaining marine soldiers who were still unconscious cheered. Kid, don't underestimate these veterans, both of them have the highest experience in chasing big pirates in the old era. Whitebeard used a shock punch to repel the attacks of Aokiji and Kizaru, then jumped back to Xia Luo and said in a deep voice. It's really strange. Does Senior Whitebeard care about me? Xia Luo glanced at him in surprise and said in a playful tone. Don't be a sentimental kid, I just don't want the new era in the future to be without you. Such an interesting guy, Marine would probably have a headache if you were around. Whitebeard stood with Xia Luo and Xiao Yin. On Marine's side, Aokiji and Kizaru retreated to Sengoku and Garp. There was a clear confrontation between the 2 forces. Xia Luo's side is missing a high-end combat capability. If the fight continues like this, Whitebeard will not be able to hold on anymore. Facing the obstruction of 2 Marine Admirals, even the strongest man in the world would have a hard time withstanding it. Okay, I'm just being sentimental. Faced with Whitebeard's arrogant answer, Xia Luo smiled helplessly. Speaking of which, I quite like you too. If we weren't opposed to each other, I would definitely let you protect civilians in the world I rule in the future. Don't insult our justice, we will never do anything for evil people like you. 0. Although you said so, those guys from Celestial Dragons are many times more evil than evil people like us. These boars are what the world needs you to deal with most, Marine. Human. Sengoku gritted his teeth and didn't know how to retort for a while. The things the Celestial Dragons did really put Marine in a bad light. Marine is obviously protecting civilians, but he protects some moth-like beings. This has nothing to do with you, the existence of the Celestial Dragons is necessary. Haha, what is necessary? It must be because of the military expenses of those 5 old guys that I have to succumb to them. Xia Luo smiled and tore through Sengoku's fig leaf. Marine is an organization founded by world government. Everything in Marine is restricted by those 5 old guys from world government. Xia Luo also understands the reason very well. Well, those 5 old guys are just people pushed to the front desk to manage. One day I will personally kill your guys who claim to be gods. Xia Luo's words are amazing. Immediately exposed Im's existence. Garp and Sengoku on the other side looked confused. They are also unaware of Im's existence. They only know that their superiors are the 5 elders of the world government, and everything is managed by the 5 elders. But this shocked the 5 elders who were watching the live broadcast. They all looked in disbelief. Yim's existence is their top secret, and few even the celestial dragons know of her existence. Not to mention the people at Marine. Sengoku and Garp were completely unaware. Who is this Xia Luo? Legal Marshal God Circle Jai looked at Xia Luo on the screen in shock. They have CPO's dedicated videophone buds to broadcast the war in real time. Is he also a descendant of one of the 20 kings? It's impossible that I haven't heard of someone's heir being lost in East Blue. Judging from the age, there's no one who completely matches his age. Then he should have learned the news from other channels. It's most likely the message Lily left from Alabasta. This makes sense. The little girl who survived Ohara can also understand that kind of writing. Tisk, this is really a tricky situation. This guy must be dealt with. Lord Im's existence must not be exposed anymore. Do I need to inform Master Yihao about this matter? I think it is necessary to ask Lord Im for instructions. Although there is no D in his name, he is an existence that cannot be ignored. The 5 elders discussed with serious faces. After a while, the results were discussed. In short, I would like to ask Lord Yimu for instructions first, and then make a decision on Xia Luo, whether to pursue Xia Luo with all his strength or let it go like Kaido. The current 4 emperors, except for red hair, the other 3 sea emperors don't take them too seriously. Lord Im said that only the D family is their real enemy. Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, and Whitebeard are all personnel without D, and neither is Xia Luo. Only the red-haired person has some connections with them. Chapter 162 Blackbeard Teach appears, Whitebeard's death, the rampage of the times. Although I don't understand what you are talking about, it has nothing to do with us. We only need to do Marine's things well. Sengoku frowned and said in a deep voice. He was keenly aware that what Xia Luo was talking about was an extremely hidden secret. It would be better for him not to know about this kind of thing. These are things about world government and 5 elders. It's really sad. In response, Xia Luo also shook his head. He understood that Sengoku was pretending to be stupid. Otherwise, with his nickname of the Resourceful General, how could he not guess the importance of these things Xia Luo said? There is actually an unknown ruler above the 5 elders. Nobler than the celestial dragons, there is a nobler being above the 5 elders. Sengoku thought of an unknown existence that Whitebeard and Roger had accidentally mentioned. At that time, he didn't care about this, now combined with the information revealed by Xia Luo. Sengoku didn't dare to think too much. Ha 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 ha, it's so interesting. A new era is beginning. That old guy Shiki really found a good successor. Whitebeard laughed twice. He knew what Xia Luo was talking about. He only learned about this person from rocks during the Battle of the Valley of Gods. After Roger completed 1 lap of the Grand Route, I had a chat with him over drinks. Xia Luo, kid, your goal of threatening Marine and warning those 5 old guys from world government has been achieved, right? Next, your life will not be easy. If you tell that person's story, the 5 elders will keep targeting you. Whitebeard turned to look at Xia Luo. His eyes were full of approval. Almost, I will carry out a series of actions against the world government next. Xia Luo nodded. Why are you mentioning this suddenly? Since your purpose has been accomplished, then retreat. I will stop you here, 7 or 80. Whitebeard looked back at the Whitebeard pirates who had already left far away. There was perseverance in his eyes. Wait, I haven't had enough fun yet. Please, little brat Xia Luo, this will be the last battle on my journey, so please exit here. Before Xia Luo could finish speaking, Whitebeard interrupted. There was firmness in his tone, and he also rarely said words of entrustment to others. Xia Luo also showed surprise. It's really rare for Whitebeard to speak to him with such a begging attitude. Looking at Whitebeard's profile, Xia Luo felt a rare sense of respect. In his dragon-like state, he returned to his original appearance. It's boring, then do whatever you like, old man. Xia Luo waved her hand, shook her head and walked away slowly. However, he did not go far, but walked to a boulder and sat on it, watching Whitebeard finish his last battle. HMPH, thanks, kid. Whitebeard raised the corners of his mouth and said secretly. Wait, Xia Luo. Where do you want to go? Our battle is not over yet. Watching Xia Luo retreat, Sengoku shouted first. Boom. What greeted him was Whitebeard's shocking fist. Sengoku resisted the force of the shock, but couldn't help but step back. Sengoku, your next opponent is me, don't even think about taking a step forward. Whitebeard showed his signature smile, like a crescent moon beard and smile. Damn. Whitebeard. Sengoku gritted his teeth and looked at Whitebeard fiercely. This execution can be said to be a huge failure. Ace ran away. Whitebeard looks like he wants to die here. If Xia Luo can also be caught and executed, then Marine will not be able to save the lost face. The record of getting rid of 2 Emperor-level combatants at once was enough to wash away these humiliations, but before that, they need to deal with Whitebeard first. Since you want to seek death, don't blame me, haha, come on, Sengoku. You have been chasing me for most of your life, it's time to get to know me. Both of them got into fighting stances. Aokiji, Kazaru and others made a tacit understanding and did not continue to fight. Instead, they chose to leave the battlefield to these 2 old men. Their most important thing is to keep a close eye on Xia Luo to prevent him from making any changes or escaping. Garp also remained silent, a flash of memory flashing in his eyes. He was chasing Roger, and Sengoku was chasing Whitebeard. They're both old rivals. Just as he knew Roger well, so too did Sengoku and Whitebeard know each other well. Boom. The collision of shockwaves and shockwaves. The battle between the two was very grand. This battle also lasted for a long time. But in the end, it was Whitebeard who was at a disadvantage first due to his serious injuries. Everyone is just like when Zephyr finally died in the movie version, silently. Watch this battle. Marco shed tears when he saw it from a distance, and so did the other captains. Dad shouted out again and again, heartbreakingly. Marco forcibly calmed down his emotions and shouted loudly for his men to retreat. Boom. Sengoku and Whitebeard both stopped at the same time. Whitebeard was breathing heavily, and the severe pain had made his face look very painful. He clutched his chest and started breathing heavily. Sengoku frowned, his eyes showing something strange. Another old rival was defeated by him. What's that look, Sengoku? Come on. Sengoku's eyes made him feel a little uncomfortable, so he shouted to Sengoku loudly. Then let me take you on your last journey. Sengoku also put away his strange feelings and became serious. The two of them were facing each other like this, and the next confrontation would be the last. No one chose to make the first move. What is that? There seems to be something behind the headquarters fortress. Suddenly, a marine interrupted the deadlock. He pointed at a huge figure behind naval headquarters and started shouting loudly. Ah, I've been discovered, the huge figure exclaimed, but it was more of amusement. There seems to be someone on the execution platform, another marine said, pointing in the direction of the execution platform. Finally realized it, Xia ha 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 ha. Blackbeard teacher's figure appeared on the execution platform. Along with him are the criminals from the 6th floor of Impel Down in the original work, and Shiryu, the Impel Down guard Chongami. How did you guys get here? Sengoku shouted angrily. Long time no see, I never thought I could see you before you die, Dad. Blackbeard Teach ignored him, but opened his hands and laughed, how high-spirited he felt at this moment. Recruiting a powerful crew and preparing to acquire a world-destroying power. Force. Whitebeard looked at Teach on the execution platform with a gloomy expression. Shiryu. You bastard. What happened to Magellan? What happened to Impel Down? How did you get here? Before Whitebeard could speak, Sengoku spoke first. Don't we answer your question by being here, Marshal Sengoku? If you want to know the specific reason, you can check it out later. All in all, I will join forces with these guys in the future. Please give me your advice. Faced with Sengoku's question, Shiryu raised the corners of his mouth, then took out his cigar and spoke slowly. It can be said that his attitude was as arrogant as he was, and he did not take Sengoku in front of him seriously at all. What followed was a series of questions from Sengoku and a confrontation with Blackbeard. Blackbeard also proudly explained his plan and gave up the title of Shichibukai. It doesn't matter what happens with that, Teach. Whitebeard posed using his shock fruit ability, and a giant ball shockwave was shot out by him. All the marines along the way were blown away, and Blackbeard and his team also stood up in a cold sweat anxiously. They couldn't handle the power of this shockwave. The shockwave went straight towards Blackbeard and the others. But just before they were enveloped, Blackbeard took action, and dark energy gathered in his hands, swallowing up Whitebeard's shockwave. Xia Luo was keenly aware of this detail. Smoke covered the direction of the execution platform. It's such a close call, it's such a close call. In the smoke, the Blackbeard pirate group came out, everyone was intact. You really don't care about friendship, you can't be merciful. Blackbeard pushed away the boulder that was holding him down, shook his head, looked at Whitebeard and said slowly. You are the only one who is not worthy of being my son, Teach. You have violated the only iron rule on my ship. You killed your comrade, Captain Saki of the 4th Squadron, so I will take your bastard's life and let him rest in peace. Whitebeard raised the sword in his hand and pointed it at the opposite side, but paused because of the injury to his chest. Dad, Marco and the other captains suddenly shouted worriedly. Marco even transformed into a phoenix and wanted to rush through the rift to help Whitebeard. The moment they saw Blackbeard, several division captains turned back and were looking worriedly at Whitebeard on the other side. Marco. Hearing Whitebeard's cry, Marco immediately stopped and landed on the ground again. No one is allowed to take action, do you understand? Whitebeard took 2 hard breaths and then shouted loudly. Let's settle this, Teach. Whitebeard strode his horse and was ready to attack. As you wish, ha 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 ha. A dark aura emerged from Teach's palm, and then he pressed it on the ground. The black aura enveloped the area, including Whitebeard. But Whitebeard remained unmoved, his sharp eyes only focused on Teach in front of him. But suddenly, everything shrouded in darkness was slowly sinking, including Whitebeard among them. The strongest devil fruit, dark fruit, you have a taste of its power. Teach showed a sinister smile, and darkness emerged behind him. Whitebeard rushed forward, covering the power of Sun Lily fruit. It's useless, all your abilities are useless in front of me. Dark water. The darkness in Blackbeard's hands absorbed Whitebeard's vibrating power. The latter looked at the abnormality in front of him in surprise. At this moment, Blackbeard punched him in the abdomen. His already scarred body was stiffened by the punch. Then the shock force of another punch was eliminated, and Blackbeard punched him with his real military body. Even the cloud cutter in Whitebeard's hand was knocked into the sky. But soon, Whitebeard also found his weakness. After feinting a shot and hitting it with the power of shock, as he expected, Teach used Dark Fruit's ability to eliminate it. It's useless. It's too ugly, Dad. Then he took the Kong Yunki from the sky and chopped it on his shoulder. With Whitebeard's strength, this knife could easily break him in half, but the burden on his body forced him to use his full strength. In addition, Blackbeard has a special physique and is very strong, so he can barely carry it. Take this knife. If you can't use all your strength, use shock fruit. It hurts, it hurts. Teach rolled on the ground in pain. It was this flaw that Whitebeard caught. He stepped on his right hand with one foot, and his left hand was also pressed by Kong Yunki's knife handle. He grabbed Teach's neck with his right hand, and the shock force concentrated on his right hand. Conceit and rashness are your weaknesses, Whitebeard said hard with cold eyes. The physical injuries have made it difficult for him to even speak. Yeah, Dad. Yeah, I'm your son. Are you really going to kill me? Teach frantically begged for mercy, but when he saw Whitebeard's cold eyes, he panicked instantly. The ability to activate the vibrating fruit from this distance is still activated in the head. If you don't do it right, you may really die. Didn't you see that Akainu fell down after being hit twice? Bang bang bang. 3 explosions sounded in succession. Whitebeard activated Shock Fruit's ability 3 times in a row. The vibration directly shattered the ground. According to the law of smoke, no harm, a seemingly fatal attack will definitely not kill anyone. The smoke cleared, and sure enough, Blackbeard lay in the pit and struggled to get up, holding his neck and gasping for breath. Tisk, tisk, this physique is really tough. Even after being hit by Shock Fruit 3 times, I didn't fall down. Xia Luo clicked his tongue in surprise. Even if he was hit, he probably wouldn't feel well. Blackbeard's physique didn't kill him even after 3 shots, which is really unique to him. Whitebeard stood in front of Teach, motionless. This is the best time to hit the target, but no matter how loud the returning pirate on the other side screams, Whitebeard remains unmoved. There was already a puddle of blood under him. Sure enough, has it reached its limit? If that fairy bean is still there, maybe the Blackbeard pirates will really be wiped out by you here. Xia Luo shook his head and sighed. He had no intention of stepping forward to stop what happened next. He is not the nanny of the Whitebeard pirates. Everything Whitebeard does is his own choice. Then he should accept the ending of his own choice. Whitebeard slowly took a step forward. At this time, his state was like Luffy turning on second gear. His whole body was radiating heat, and his skin began to become congested and red. This was the only left-back move he could make while burning his last life. His fists were covered with the power of Shock Fruit, and he punched Teach 3 times. We are going to die 4.8 years ago, why can't we die quietly? Faced with this attack that might kill him, Teach took out his gun and made a final struggle. But this bullet was fired and hit Whitebeard's wound, interrupting his movements. At Blackbeard's order, his new crew members swarmed up and attacked the broken body crazily. Faced with this crazy attack, Whitebeard just closed his eyes and endured it silently. His mind flashed back to his previous memories and conversations with Roger, as well as the 10 lives he had risked for himself. It wasn't until all the bullets in the guns in Blackbeard's group's hands were empty that they stopped. Do you regret giving Ace the fairy bean, Whitebeard? Just when Blackbeard was looking for a gun to continue shooting, Xia Luo slowly asked. There is nothing to regret, Whitebeard, whom Blackbeard and his group thought was dead, suddenly said. Teach was so frightened that he quickly took a few steps on the ground, trying to get away from Whitebeard's surroundings. It's really ugly to look like this. I will not regret my decision. In response, Xia Luo was silent. The man Roger is waiting for, at least it won't be you, Teach. Just like the people who inherited Roger's will, there are countless people behind me who inherited my will. Even if the bloodline is cut off, their flames will not go out. They are inherited continuously from the distant past, and one day in the future, there will be those who have carried hundreds of years of history and challenge the world. People. Sengoku. You, the world government, are afraid of the battle that will one day involve the entire world. Although I have no interest when a treasure is discovered by someone. The world will be turned upside down. Someone will find it. Someone with this potential has already appeared. That day will come. Chapter 163. Carrying the pirate flag for life. One Piece is real. With Whitebeard's final roar, people all over the world were shocked. The reporters taking notes were once again so shocked that they dropped their notepads. You guy. Sengoku roared. Unexpectedly, even death would not give them peace of mind. The last time they roared like this, it started the era of great pirates. What will the last words of the symbol of this era before his death make this era become? Xia Luo kid. I'll leave these guys behind me to you. Finally, Whitebeard slowly spoke to Xia Luo. Tisk. Is this the old man's last wish before his death? Well, it seems that since you and my old man are acquainted, I promise you that I will send them all out safely. Xia Luo nodded and agreed. Even if he is about to die, this old man's courage is still so admirable. This scene deeply touched Xia Luo, so I reluctantly became a nanny for a while, which was not a big problem for me. With the mobility and destructive power of him and Xiaoyan, if they really go crazy, no one here can stop them. Even Sengoku and Garp can't do it, because it's not a battle, but a massacre. It's hard for the two to block Xia Luo's frenzied attack. Roger is right, the future belongs to young people like you. I really envy that guy Shiki for finding a successor like you. But I will be able to see him down there soon. I guess if he knows, he will be quite proud of me. Whitebeard smiled, recalling his great rival. But I'm not bad either. It's been a long journey. It's been a wonderful sailing trip. Thank you and farewell, sons. Whitebeard stood on the battlefield like this, and he remained standing until his death. The breeze blew slowly, and the cloak on him finally fell off, revealing his unscarred back and the tattoo of the pirate flag that he has carried throughout his life. Dad. The grieving Whitebeard pirates knelt down in tears and watched their father's final journey. The information about Whitebeard's death in battle was also announced to the world with the spread of the videophone bug. Wah, blah, blah, it's so interesting. There is no doubt that great changes will occur in this era. But it won't end so easily here. That guy Xia Luo is still here, and the thugs from Impel Down are also here. How on earth is Marine going to end it? Because of Sengoku and others, Doflamingo stepped aside from the battlefield and sighed. He was the one who really wanted Xia Luo to die here. Now that Whitebeard is dead, Marine will have a huge advantage against Xia Luo. He must take this opportunity to take away Xia Luo's life, otherwise he will not be able to eliminate his anger. What a tenacious guy, he finally died, Nanchi gasped and said. Then a group of crew members slowly walked towards Whitebeard. If nothing else happened, they wanted to seize Whitebeard's fruit ability here. But at the moment they wanted to take action. Roar. Several huge lion heads rise from the ground. What's this? Teach looked at the changes around him in panic. Then he turned his attention to Xia Luo, who had a dull expression outside. Is it you? Damn, Golden Lion 2 Xia Luo. I have heard of your reputation. This old man is dead. Even so, do you still want to fight me over a corpse? I thought we were the same kind of people. It would be better to cooperate with us than with a dead person? Teach's eyes showed fear. Now is not the time to have a conflict with Xia Luo, so he can only show goodwill first. After you get what you want, as long as you get what you want. Even if it's Xia Luo, he won't be afraid. Same kind of people? You said we are the same kind of people? Stop joking. I'm not in the same category as you trash. Xia Luo showed disdain in his eyes. Who is Xia Luo and who is Blackbeard? Dare you have a relationship with him? I am not so timid and cowardly, even a dying old man is afraid of being like this. He is arrogant, underestimates the enemy, timid, and greedy. He is a combination of all bad and negative things. Although Xia Luo is also very greedy. But only in one aspect, it is completely different from trash like him. As Xia Luo's hand slowly fell, several lion heads swarmed up, directly burying Blackbeard's group underneath. Damn it. You little ones, protect me. Blackbeard could only shout loudly in a panic, and then tried to use his ability to eliminate Xia Luo's lion fruit ability. However, he was surprised to find that it was very difficult to eliminate Xia Luo's ability. It's completely different from when you eliminate Whitebeard's ability. Xia Luo's fruit ability seems to be impossible to eliminate. It can't keep up with the speed of the opponent's stone burying. All this is due to Xia Luo's side effect-free fruit, which not only eliminates the side effects of being afraid of seawater, but also resists the ability of dark fruit. Dark fruit only retains some of the characteristics he swallowed, and cannot completely swallow Xia Luo Devil Fruit's ability, and can only swallow rocks. Xia Luo turned her finger, and a ball of rock wrapped around Whitebeard's body like soft glutinous rice and moved to his side. After the rocks dispersed, only a huge rectangular black box remained. The material looks very hard, like steel, but it's a slightly different material. This is the secret weapon prepared by Xia Luo, and it is also one of his goals in this war. This is a huge sea stone box filled with a variety of different fruits. Sea stone has the effect of restraining devil fruit, preventing the power of the devil from leaving the body and possessing other fruits. In the end, it can only be attached to the fruit in the box. This is Xia Luo's conjecture. According to the information obtained from Alabasta, devil fruit will return to the place where the host thought of at the last moment after their death. Then the sea stone that restrains devil fruit should have some effect and prevent the demon's power from flowing away. Damn it. The stone pillars that were originally twisted into twists were cut open. Blackbeard and his gang jumped out. Dad's body is also missing. Where is it? Teach looked in the direction of Xia Luo and stared at the black box next to him. You really want to go against us, just for the body of an old man? Blackbeard stared at Xia Luo with fierce eyes. What? Do you also want to challenge me? Xia Luo spread his hands, and lightning crackled on his fingertips. This gesture made Teach flinch. But my plan failed. If I didn't do anything to Xia Luo. He glanced at the extremely vicious people around him, especially the evil king of Alo Bizarro. Judging from the other party's words and deeds, he is not a kind person. He had exposed his ambition even before he got on the ship. If he couldn't suppress him, he would definitely rebel. Teach had no choice but to bite the bullet. Just right. Let me see how strong you are, known as the strongest newcomer. Bar. Teach's expression became arrogant. Even if he didn't want to, he couldn't lose his aura. Ha ha ha. How about cooperating with me? Let's join forces to kill Xia Luo and then divide all his property. Doflamingo jumped out at this time and said with a sinister smile, he will not miss any opportunity to make Xia Luo's enemies. You, Doflamingo? Blackbeard. Teach turned his eyes to the side and looked at him suspiciously. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. We all have the same enemy. If we join forces, the success rate will be higher. Doflamingo said slowly with a kind smile on his face. Okay. As you said, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so let's work together to kill him. The two turned to look at Xia Luo. Blackbeard thinks about the power of Whitebeard's shock fruit. Even if he can't get the shock fruit, Xia Luo's lion fruit is still very powerful. If Xia Luo can be killed, the combat power of their pirate group will be greatly strengthened. If you can catch that dragon and subdue it, that would be even better. The two of them got together like this. Blackbeard Teach's originally few teeth were reduced by Whitebeard's shock fruit, and now his smile is still leaky, looking very funny. Xia Luo paid no attention to them, but said to Marco. Let's go, Marco, I will stop them here, so you can just go sailing without worries. Xia Luo nodded to let them go first. Thank you very much, Mr. Xia Luo, for your help. If our strength is needed in the future, I will come to help without hesitation. Marco saluted him respectfully, then wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes, turned around and fled with the large army. Aokiji and Kizaru immediately took action and went to chase the remaining pirates. Xia Luo raised his head to signal, and Xiao Yin behind him immediately appeared in front of the two of them, blocking their pursuit. Aokiji and Kizaru were also forced to stop. Oh duo, it's that very troublesome dragon. Now we're in trouble. Huang Yuan scratched his head in distress. Boom. What greeted them was Xiao Yin's thunderous roar without saying a word. The violent roar of thunder and lightning was like a laser pointer. No matter which direction the two of them fled, they would be overtaken. Even if they ran away separately, Xiaoyan's gunwing would eject 2 more bolts of lightning, and 3 lightning lasers would chase the two of them. Helpless, the two could only use elemental transformation to let the lightning penetrate their bodies, but they still felt a bit numb and could not be completely immune. Seeing that the lightning had swallowed up the two of them, Xiao Yin slowly stopped spraying and roaring. There were some melted ice cubes on the ground, and 347 corpses slowly turned into light or ice and regrouped. There is no way. It seems that if we want to stop those guys, we have to defeat this dragon first. Aokiji said with a serious face, cold air already gathering on his hands. The pheasant flew out with a burst of ice. It seems like this. Kizaru also made an 8-foot Magatama pose, and countless light bullets flew down from the sky. Dex. Xiao Yin looked up to the sky and roared, then rushed over like a whirlwind. The body is still spinning in the air, looking like a red drill. The ice bird was shattered, the light bullet was bounced away, and Xiao Yin's figure passed between the two of them. A pair of spear wings turned into 2 swords and cut the 2 men in half. Then he used his claws to make an emergency break and reverse the direction, and fired another roaring bullet. Boom. The huge explosion raised smoke like mushroom bombs. Aokiji Admiral. Kizaru Admiral, the sailors shouted worriedly. Don't panic. This level of attack is not enough to kill us, you continue to pursue us. Aokiji's voice came out from the smoke, sure enough it will. As for Haki, luckily he used observation Haki to sense the trajectory of the attack in advance. When the smoke dispersed, Kizaru's voice came out, both of them looked intact. When Xiao Yin attacked, they did not greet him, but followed the trajectory to avoid it. It was this keen perception that saved their lives. The attack just now was covered with thick armament Haki. Even if they were hit by this kind of attack, they would be seriously injured. Can you stop it? Aokiji turned around and asked. I don't know, but you can give it a try. You can go there first. Your ability is more suitable for stopping the pursuit of those pirates. 11. Kizaru's wretched face became rarely serious, and he was extremely unconfident when he said this. Normally, he would not be like this, but now he is facing a dragon species with very similar abilities to Xia Luo. He didn't dare to guarantee it, then I'll go there first. After Aokiji left these words, he appeared on the other side and continued to move forward. Xiaoyan was keenly aware of his movements and accelerated directly towards him. Oh, yes, I can't let you leave so casually, please stay here and play with me for a while. Kizaru turned into a yellow flash and appeared in Silver's path. The flash laser condensed on his fingertips and shot out. Chapter 164 Double Fruit Ability? 3 Fruit Ability. But the next scene shocked Kizaru. The laser actually penetrated Xiaoyan's body. Then it turned into thunder and lightning and rushed directly through Kizaru's body. He could clearly feel that Xiaoyan's body had turned into thunder and lightning elements. Exactly the same type of ability as his sparkling fruit. Lobia Devil Fruit, and it's a lightning-type Lobia Devil Fruit. It's not like he hasn't seen Nami on Xia Luo's ship, and knows that Nami is a thunder fruit user. So what kind of fruit is this on Xiaoyan's body now? It has been proven from all aspects that this is the ability of thunder fruit. With this stunned effort, Xiaoyan had already passed through his blockage and headed straight towards Aokiji Chinese medicine doctor. It was too late for Kizaru to stop him. Aokiji, who was running wildly, suddenly felt a chill running down his spine. Looking behind him from the corner of his eye, he saw the red lightning. Suddenly he broke into a cold sweat, fired an ice bomb with his right hand, and then twisted his body. Use your hands to block in front of you. The ice bomb touched the sea surface, and the ocean that had been melted by a kainu was instantly frozen again. Bang! After doing all this, Aokiji, who had no time to elementalize, could only bear the impact of Xiaoyan and was directly knocked away. The freshly frozen ice formed a large pit. Aokiji was lying in the middle, staring at the little silver in the sky with cold eyes, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. What are you doing? You didn't even stop him for a moment. Phew. Kizaru appeared next to him. It's not my fault. I don't know what kind of weird abilities he has. What ability? It makes you unable to stop me, Aokiji asked doubtfully. Elementalization. It has the ability to transform into lightning elements just like Thunder Fruit, Kizaru said with a serious face. What? Thunder Fruit? That's not the little boy with yellow hair on his ship. A girl's ability? When did it come to this dragon? Aokiji was also shocked. He didn't see the scene where Kizaru was penetrated just now. I thought that the other party only had the ability of thunder and lightning. In this regard, the Fur tribe also has a similar method of using fur to rub to create thunder and lightning. I didn't expect it to be Devil Fruit's ability. It is impossible for two identical Devil Fruit's abilities to appear at the same time. So what exactly is the ability of this dragon? It's not just this dragon. Have you forgotten the red lightning that appeared on Xia Luo just now? In addition, his form is like the ability of the phantom beast species fruit. I suspect that Xia Luo has some kind of connection with this dragon and can transform into its appearance and use its abilities. You mean, Xia Luo also has the ability of Thunder Fruit? Aokiji looked shocked and said slowly. Xia Luo began to shatter his three views again. Not only does he possess Paramecia's lion fruit, but he also seems to have mastered the transformation ability of his own phantom beast species. Now you also told me that he has the ability of Lobia Thunder Fruit. Isn't this a joke? One person owns 3 different varieties of devil fruit? If others eat one of the things he has, they will already have the possibility to reach the peak of combat power. He has these 3 abilities alone, so who can stop him? This is really troublesome. I don't know what to do about Mr. Sengoku. If Xia Luo is allowed to leave, we will no longer have the chance to capture Xia Luo. The naval headquarters does not have the ability to send troops to pursue this kind of enemy who can fly in the sky all year round, not to mention that 1 or 2 admirals cannot stop the opponent at all. Kizaru didn't look good. He didn't know whether Xia Luo's appearance was good or bad. What changes will the future reforms of the world bring? If it is not handled well, it is really possible that, as the other party said, the world will be ruled by him. Well, the priority now is no longer the Whitebeard pirates, but Xia Luo's group. We must keep this dragon and Xia Luo here. Aokiji said with a stern face. He no longer cares about the fleeing pirates, but stands with Kizaru. Coming, following Aokiji's reminder, Kizaru saw Xiaoyan on the opposite side open his mouth, and another roaring bullet flew over. The two kept dodging. It's not that they don't want to eat it directly with elementalization, but every roar contains Haki's attack. If you are not careful, you will really be shocked and lose your fighting power. Xiaoyan's mouth is like a Gatling gun, constantly spraying out roaring bombs. Every time it hits the ground, a small explosion will directly shatter the ground. Moreover, the violent thunder and lightning will stay on the ground for a short time, forming an electric shock trap. If ordinary people accidentally step on it, they will be electrocuted and lose consciousness. The 2 people who had dodged an attack were about to fight back when Xiaoyan's wings at both ends sprayed out 2 lasers that looked like tailed beast bombs. Helpless, the 2 had no choice but to dodge again, but this time it didn't go as they wished. A strange feeling on my feet. Aokiji was the first to discover this strangeness because he had experienced the application of this technique once. When they lowered their heads, they saw that it was indeed a group of rocks that tightly bound their feet like soft rice cakes, preventing them from exerting any strength at all. These soft rocks become very hard after solidification. This is, Aokiji's pupils widened and he spoke subconsciously. But the laser is already in front of you. If you don't dodge it, you will really be hit. There is no choice but to elementally deviate from this laser as much as possible. But the edge of the lightning still grazed his body. This is not a straight line bombardment, but a lightning column that can control the shooting position like a laser pointer. The feeling of paralysis and electric shock coming from his body made him cry out in pain. Kizaru on the other side is a little faster, and the speed blessed by the flash allows him to escape the pursuit of the laser beam. After a few seconds passed, the Thunder Dragon cannon slowly dissipated. Aokiji's body looked a little charred, with traces of green smoke coming out of the surface of his body. Even with the protection of armament Haki, he is not completely immune to this lightning. Lion Fruit's ability. Aokiji lowered his arms that were crossed in front of him, revealing his cold, murderous eyes. It seems that I made a mistake. Not only did Xia Luo gain the ability of this dragon, but the dragon also gained the ability of Xia Luo. Aokiji's head was very clear at the moment. After being shocked, his thoughts became clearer. Impossible. The person with this ability is right behind here. The person with the fruit ability is not dead yet. How can anyone else get the same ability? Kizaru immediately objected. It's not impossible. Doesn't Xia Luo's ability to possess thunder and lightning confirm my guess? The other party should have some special characteristics that allow people to share the abilities of two people or creatures. This dragon, including Xia Luo, they're all dual fruit power users. No, maybe they're 3 fruit power users. As Aokiji's words slowly fell, everyone was shocked. This scene was also spread to the world through the live broadcast. Regarding Aokiji's speculation, Xiaoyan also gave a clear answer. I saw that the rocks, ice cubes, and iron tools on the ground slowly floated, then softened and merged, turning into a new appearance. Sky comet dragons composed of different materials are flying in the sky. This is very similar to the Lion Majesty, earth coiling that Xia Luo used before, and also gives Lion Fruit the fluttering power. Several celestial comet dragons composed of different materials soar in the sky. Facing this oppressive formation, all the soldiers felt an inexplicable sense of oppression, as if someone had strangled their throats, making it almost impossible to breathe. It wasn't until a sound of swallowing saliva made them realize that they could breathe, and they began to gasp for air. It's not good. Ordinary soldiers can't get through it all, and they can't stop the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates. Do you want to clean up the thing first? Kizaru frowned and asked Aokiji next to him for his opinion. Now he couldn't make up his mind either. We have no choice but to do this. Ordinary marine soldiers can't pose any threat to Xia Luo and the others. We can only send them to intercept Whitebeard's remnants. With the Vice Admiral of our headquarters leading the team, it is enough to stop those captains as much as possible, to eliminate these remnants. Aokiji didn't have any good opinions, and then nodded and replied. After saying that, the two of them took action at the same time. It's all a wide range of skills. The target is all the manufactured objects around Xiaoyan, and countless rock iron body falls from the sky. To deal with these ordinary materials, there is no special ability to create moves. Things, Aokiji and they are still very relaxed, but the next second, the fallen rock iron body slowly squirmed and regrouped into the appearance of the celestial comet dragon, and the number was still increasing. Just like using proliferation, these individuals began to divide, and the rocks next to them gathered together and continued to increase in number. After a while, even the wall disappeared, leaving only the seastone wall surrounding the bay. These seastone walls cannot be operated by Lion Fruit. Although it will not be affected by him, this substance is very special and it takes a lot of energy to control it. Xiao Yinkai did not control these seastone materials. Even so, the current momentum is terrifying. It's completely useless. There are too many materials on the ground. He can use these materials to make more creations at any time. Aokiji looked very ugly and stared at Xiaoyan opposite him. At this time, Xiaoyan is like the final boss. Surrounded by the overwhelming creations of earth coiling, with scarlet eyes and the red dragon aura he inadvertently exuded, he looked calm and at ease. We've fallen into an endless loop. It seems we can only defeat this dragon before we can talk about the next thing. Kizaru shook his head and said helplessly. Suddenly, something happened on the ground. A ball of red magma squirmed on the ground, and then in front of Aokiji and Kizaru, the magma shot up into the sky. Akainu's figure slowly walked out. What are you doing and why are you taking so long? Akainu asked. Even without him, Marine still has a lot of high-end combat power. How could it be delayed for so long? Akainu has begun to become suspicious, especially with Aokiji and Kizaru's previous strange behaviors. I can't help it, the fighting power of Xia Luo's group is really too weird. That dragon alone is very weird. Not only is it good at swordsmanship, but it also has a very strong body. Now there is also a Logia devil fruit that is similar to thunder fruit. I still don't know how to use Xia Luo's lion fruit. Various factors have led to the fact that I haven't won the left right now. In this regard, Kizaru could only helplessly spread his hands. He still had to explain what should be explained, otherwise it would be bad if he was misunderstood. Are you kidding? Even a child knows that a person cannot eat 2 devil fruits at the same time, nor can there be 2 identical devil fruits. Regarding Kizaru's sophistry, Akainu shouted angrily. It's true. Xia Luo and his gang seem to have mastered some method to allow people to use devil fruits abilities together. Now, in addition to chasing down Whitebeard's remnants, the top priority is to keep Xia Luo here and kill him. Wei Shang on the side also explained at this time. Hey, Aokiji, are you going crazy with him? Then someone will eat 2 devil fruits. It's not like you don't know the fate of that kind of person. Akainu was also surprised. When two colleagues told him, he began to have doubts. However, this kind of thing is really weird. Even though he is well informed, he has never seen or heard of anyone eating two devil fruit. You will know it when you look back. Look back? Akainu slowly turned his head and saw Xiao Yin's figure in the overwhelming sky comet dragon made of various materials. Akainu's pupils shrank and he looked at this scene in shock. This ability is undoubtedly Lion Fruit's ability to make objects fly and control objects. This is not the same as the Gravity Fruit. Although the Gravity Fruit can also make things float, it cannot form. If this is Lion Fruit, what is Xia Luo using? Is the information wrong? It's starting to move, be careful. Aokiji's buzzer sounded in his ears, and Akainu quickly looked up at the strange movement over there. Chirped. As Xiao Yinyi, Delise, roared, the floating replica began to hover in the sky, and began to fly faster and faster, and then swoop down directly from the sky. This move is exactly what it used when it appeared on the scene, cute stars flying into the sky. Now it is used by these manufactured products, but neither the flying speed nor the strength can compare with Tianlong. These manufactured products are like bombers that are not afraid of death, crashing from the air to the ground. For a time, this bay was like dumplings being dropped, with continuous bombardment of sky comet dragons falling down. Faced with this move, Marine 3 Admiral did not flinch but fought back. If these things were really smashed down, Naval Headquarters' entire force would be completely wiped out. When the time comes, only the Bear Commander will be left, who will be responsible for maintaining the peace of the sea. Moreover, Marine will also have a lot less coolies to do. The three of them tried their best to shoot down these bombers with a wide range of moves. After knocking down all the replicas, they were greeted by an attack from the original figure. Tianweilong is like a red comet when it flies in the sky, and the Chi mentioned later, if you see Shuang novel, go to Filu novel network. The red lightning and dragon energy look so bright, but they are very deadly. Stop it, Akainu shouted in a serious tone. The other two people were also ready. One wanted to release the 8-foot stroke jade, and the other used the ice cube violent pheasant mouth. Great eruption. Akainu roared angrily, the fist that transformed into a minister in his hand hit him directly. Dex. The three of them are all in an elemental state, and Xiao Yin is also in an elemental state. Coupled with this supersonic flight speed, the attack directly penetrated the three people's combined ultimate move. Xiao Yin's body is also covered with magma and ice fragments, for the ancient dragon's physique. Whether it's magma or ice, it's just a trivial matter. A huge explosion sounded in the bay. The ice layer was directly shaken to pieces by Xiao Yin's impact, and all the ice cubes were cracked. Chapter 165 Doflamingo's Eyes. What, there's so much noise over there. It's such a freak. The things next to it are not normal things. One dragon stopped three of Marine's high-end combat forces. Doflamingo looked at the situation over there in surprise. Jia ha 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 ha, this dragon is so powerful, I will definitely get it, Xia Luo, just kill me while I'm here. Let's go up, little ones. Blackbeard Teach looked at Xiao Yin over there with jealousy and said greedily. Is it just you? Xia Luo said with contempt in her eyes. Then let me show you the power of my dark fruit, Jia ha 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 ha. A lot of black gas came out of Blackbeard Teach's body and began to slowly devour surrounding objects. Sengoku is still weighing the pros and cons. Blackbeard Teach is undoubtedly a potentially dangerous person. Although we don't know what he wants to do, releasing so many vicious criminals will definitely harm the world. But Xia Luo's side is more dangerous, and Admiral-level combat power alone can no longer stop the opponent. If this opportunity is given up, there will never be another opportunity for so many people to gather together to defeat Xia Luo. So he decided to wait and see what happens and let Blackbeard Teach and Xia Luo fight each other. No matter who wins in the end, he can take action to capture the winner. Call out. A wire bullet hit Xia Luo's body, but it did not cause any damage. Xia Luo did not even want to hide. What? You're just talking about experience when you're talking nonsense. You can't even scratch my itch. Xia Luo frowned, with a slightly disdainful expression. Doflamingo could be said to have made a sneak attack, but what's the use of a move with such low lethality? It was just to anger him. Provoking a person to make him lose his mind will expose even greater flaws. It is with this purpose in mind that Doflamingo continues to provoke. Dark Water. Blackbeard Teach wants to suck Xia Luo over, then eliminate his devil fruit ability and let his crew knock down I. Do you think you are Sengoku or Garp or Whitebeard? You have no strength, but you still dare to come close to me. Xia Luo looked at Blackbeard in front of her calmly and said slowly. Jia ha 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 ha, you will know if you try it, kids, come on. With swords and guns, Xia Luo was surrounded by people, just like the scene where Whitebeard was killed before, but now it was Xia Luo's turn. However, different people get different results. When the sword came into contact with Xia Luo, there was only a clanging 913 sound. It's like the sword meets a harder iron body. The bullet hit Xia Luo and was crushed directly. Doflamingo has also been using the ability of string fruit to harass Zizi. Xia Luo's whole body began to be filled with electricity. Then just like Pikachu, a powerful electric current was released from his body. How is it possible? I can still use my abilities under my dark fruit. What kind of ability is this? Blackbeard Teach said in surprise when he was knocked down. There are still many things you don't know. You are really arrogant. Let me teach you a lesson first. I hope you can survive. Xia Luo's hand grabbed his head, then a powerful current is released. Ah! Blackbeard let out a miserable scream. Whitebeard had just used shock fruit to shock him 3 times, and now Xia Luo was pressing his head to release a strong electric current. Even if his physique is very special, he can't withstand so many attacks. Originally, his brain was almost turning into paste, but now that it was heated, Blackbeard felt that his brain was about to be cooked. Captain, Badgers, the most loyal to Blackbeard, shouted worriedly. Xia Luo slowly let go of his hand. Blackbeard had rolled his eyes and fell down. Now he didn't know whether he was alive or dead. So useless. I thought it would be so powerful, but I didn't expect that I couldn't even withstand a single blow. Doflamingo frowned and said in a disgusting tone. He also wanted Blackbeard to consume more of Xia Luo's power, but he didn't expect that he would fall down as soon as the fight started. He had no choice but to retreat. If he wanted to return to Marine, at least Sengoku would stop him. His status is special, and Sengoku will not allow him to die here easily. Where do you want to go? Suddenly he heard a voice behind him. When? Doflamingo turned his head in fear and saw the figure of Xia Luo. I've been unhappy with you for a long time. Come and punch me and let me see how many wretched eyes you have under your sunglasses. Xia Luo's fist was infinitely enlarged in Doflamingo's eyes. Then he was hit hard on the bridge of his nose and eyes. A fist as big as a sandbag was enough to hit his face beyond recognition. What? It's the same as ordinary eyes, CEFJ, Xia Luo said disappointedly. There were no beady eyes as he imagined, nor were they big cute girl eyes, just the eyes of an ordinary person, relatively sharp. But Doflamingo looks a little funny with his nosebleed and his mirrorless sunglasses. After Xiaoyan broke through the ice and formed a big explosion, the smoke and dust gradually dispersed. The 3 admirals stood on the 3 huge blocks of ice and regrouped their figures. Did you rush into the sea by yourself? You are really asking for your own death? Demon fruit power cannot survive in the sea. Even if it is a fantasy creature, a dragon. That strange organ can breathe in the sea, but it will become weak. Now is the perfect time to keep all Whitebeard's remnants behind, and then go back and keep Xia Luo. The world will suddenly lose 2 criminals, and Marine will achieve its greatest victory in history. The 3 of them had different expressions and spoke in a calm tone. The soldiers on Marine's side also cheered, and their morale was high. I'm going to chase Fire Fist Ace and Straw Hat Kid, and I'll leave the rest to you. You must not let that kind of evil son go. Akainu turned around and said to the 2 people, then stepped forward. Learn. Kizaru shrugged. All the performances that can be performed have been performed. Sabo took the straw hat, Luffy and Ace also walked away. Now that he doesn't need to do anything, Luffy can probably escape. However, the sudden movement from the soles of his feet made him stop. Hey, no, that's in the sea. Aokiji said in disbelief with cold sweat streaming down his forehead. The owner quickly left the ice block where he was standing. Boom. A huge figure broke through where they were just now, like a fountain. Same, water splashing. Xiao Yin's figure floated on the sea. There is no change in the body, and it still looks intact. The 3 attacks failed to break his scales. Even seawater has no effect. Even sea stone can't trap it, right? This is going to be troublesome. Kizaru also felt the difficulty of this dragon. It's like a perfect and invincible being. What kind of monster is this? Aokiji was at a loss. No matter what kind of monster it is, it must have its weaknesses. You hold this guy back while I find an opportunity to cross it and kill the son of Crime Ace, the Revolutionary Army Cadre Sabo, and Straw Hat Luffy here. Akainu said to the 2 people behind him. Then his body turned into lava and tried to catch up with the 3 people. The sea in the bay has frozen, and it takes a lot of effort to thaw it. Even Fire Fist Ace cannot easily melt this ice. All 3 aces chose to escape outside the bay. As long as they crossed the wall of the bay, they could reach the outside sea. After grabbing the warship, you can leave safely. Jinbei is also following behind them. He can also burst out with huge power in the ocean and temporarily resist the Marine Admiral. Dex, of course, Xiaoyan would not let Akainu chase after him like this. After chirping, the thunder and lightning from his mouth shot out like it was free of charge. Like a huge plasma cannon, the thick lightning blocked Akainu. The way to go. Tisk, it's really annoying. What are you waiting for? Stop him quickly. Akainu frowned and shouted through gritted teeth. Oh Duo, we can't let you stop us like this anymore. Aren't you taking us too seriously? Aokiji and Kizaru appeared in front of Xiaoyan instantly. One person was holding an ice saber, and the other was holding a Tiankongyun sword. They both took action at the same time, using sword skills to cut off Xiaoyan's plasma cannon. Akainu took this opportunity to speed up and rush over. Kogan wanted to stop it, but Kizaru and Aokiji in front of him stopped it. The continuous large-scale skills allow it to avoid these attacks through elementalization. Finally, Aokiji made a move with the ice ball, which directly froze Xiao Jin, forming a huge ice ball. He didn't think this move would have much effect on Xiaoyan, but it could delay it for some time. Although Akainu is not an admiral known for speed like Kizaru, he is not slow either. Whitebeard's 2 attacks caused him a lot of injuries, but rest. After a while it recovered a little. Kaka. The ice cubes were trembling violently and slowly breaking with a clicking sound. Xiaoyan's scarlet eyes and the anger that cannot be concealed can still be seen in the transparent ice. Boom. Ice cubes flew everywhere. Xiaoyan just stood there, staring at them with scarlet eyes. Even Akainu stopped chasing him. The next second, the water began to churn, and the water inside and outside the bay began to slowly float. One after another, the lifelike celestial comet dragons composed of water are condensing in the sky. This time, Xiaoyan will not play nonsense with them. This large area of sea was directly hollowed out. Looking up, you can see the celestial comet dragons that can cover the sky. They are all made of seawater. The most indispensable thing in this world is seawater. This kind of material, small silver, can be obtained anytime and anywhere, and there is an endless supply of it. Manufacture. As for the need for physical strength, with the physique fused with Xia Luo, even if the bombing continues for 10 days and 10 nights, there will be no problem. Moreover, through the passage of time and the control of the rhythm of the moves, it can slowly recover its physical strength, becoming a perpetual motion machine. Such visions caused the marine pirates to stop one after another. He raised his head and looked at the sky in shock. Is this what that dragon looks like? Did you do this to Xia Luo? Sengoku looked up in shock to see this scene and yelled at Xia Luo. Only lion fruit can achieve this ability. In response, Xia Luo just shrugged and did not answer him. He kicked Doflamingo towards him. Sengoku didn't even look at him. The world government had issued an order not to let him die, but there was no need to take too much care of him, as long as he didn't die. But at this time, an unexpected visitor broke the peace of the battlefield. Marine failed to execute Ace and failed to achieve his goal. The deserter King Kebi can also stand up at this time to stop the war, but Shanks came on time. The powerful Conqueror's spirit rushes across the battlefield. Both Marine and Pirate stopped at the same time. Fragrant Kess stood in front of Akainu, and Griffin blocked the magma punch that Akainu wanted to attack. At this time, even Akainu couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. It's Redhead Shanks. Red Force is here too. All the 4 emperors and the red-haired Shanks are here, the marine soldiers exclaimed. Here comes another one. How many 4 emperors will this war attract? First Whitebeard, then Xia Luo, and now Shanks is here too. Unlike Xia Luo, Shanks brought all his combat power with him. This is not good news. With Marine's current combat power, it is no longer possible to completely defeat them. In terms of high-end combat power, the pirates are almost on par with them. There are also many weaker ones. Why are you here? Answer me, Redhead Shanks, Akainu shouted angrily. With so many high-end combat powers appearing at once, he inevitably lost his grace and was not as calm as he was at the beginning. Red-haired Shanks. The man who led Luffy into the pirate road. Garp's eyes from a distance were so fierce that they could kill. But the overall situation was the most important thing, and he did not dare to attack directly. This would be a huge war of attrition for Marine. I'm here to end this war. Shanks slowly put away the knife, and then said in a calm tone. This attitude, coupled with his unfathomable Haki, is quite counterintuitive. Redhead, you bastard, how dare you take Roger's son and the dragon's son? Akainu was so angry that he wanted to take action again. The right hand has turned into lava. Put your arms down, Akainu. A figure suddenly appeared next to Akainu, holding a gun to his head. It was Red Hair Pirates Vice Captain Ben Beckman. Whitebeard is dead, which is already a huge victory for you pirates. Ace is the captain's son. No matter what, I will not let him die here. If you still want to fight, then let us be your opponents next. Shanks slowly pulled out the sword in his hand and said to everyone present. All the sailors present stopped under his shout, and then took several steps back in fear. Tisk tisk, it's over. It's not over. Just in time, I have fulfilled the old man's instructions before his death, right? Xia Luo clapped her hands, put them back into her trouser pockets, and said with a bored expression. But others around him didn't dare to let down their guard, especially the remaining members of Blackbeard's group. No one dares to relax their vigilance. Seeing that no one was saying anything, the red-haired man put away his knife again. Chapter 166 Jealous Hancock. You are the legendary super newcomer, now become the 5th Emperor's Golden Lion 2 Xia Luo. It's really similar to that old guy. How can he be so messy? He dares to join this war alone. Is he very confident in his own strength? Shanks turned his head in the direction of Xia Luo with a relatively harmonious expression and said in a surprised tone. Xia Luo is relatively mysterious, and no one knows his roots since his debut. And he doesn't do things randomly. Judging from Saboti Archipelago, we know that he is not a peaceful master. And he is very strategic in doing things. He has his own plan for every step and will not do anything meaningless. He looked at the black box next to Xia Luo. It contained Whitebeard's body, right? With his vision, he could tell at a glance that the black box was made of sea stone. Could it be that the purpose of his visit this time was Whitebeard's body? But what's the use? Shanks is a little confused. I don't want to be a super rookie. I just want to join in the fun. I can't say I'm confident based on my experience. Xia Luo said calmly. People who didn't know would think he was very humble. No, if you can stop Marine Marshal Sengoku and Marine Hero Garp by yourself, your strength has reached the pinnacle of this world, maybe even stronger than me. Shanks retorted. He was also very happy that such a powerful newcomer could appear in the sea. This is exactly what Captain Roger wants to see. The stronger the newcomer is, the more likely it is that the captain's hopes will come true. Can everyone here give me some face? Can you hand over Whitebeard's body? Let us handle his funeral. The images of the war have spread all over the world, and I will not allow anyone to tarnish their deaths anymore. Shanks looked at Xia Luo with sharp eyes. In response, Xia Luo also opened the black box and took out Whitebeard's body. With his sharp eyes, he had already seen a change in a certain fruit in the box. Whitebeard's body is of no use to him anymore and should just be given to Shanks for him to hold the funeral. He was not in the mood for such things. Then leave it to you. It just saves me a lot of trouble. I have completed the old man's instructions before his death. You can handle the rest. Xia Luo used lion fruit to float Whitebeard's body towards Shanks. If it were a living body, lion fruit's ability wouldn't be able to make him levitate. But the dead body can use abilities. This scene happened to be seen by Sengoku and others, confirming Whitebeard's death -0. What are you doing on your own? We are going to get Whitebeard's body, as well as the heads of Fire Fist Ace and Straw Hat Luffy, and then show them to the public. This can be called a complete victory for Marine. Doberman, the Hawk in Marine and Vice Admiral of the headquarters, replied very forcefully. He has experienced hundreds of battles and is the mainstay of Marine. He is not afraid of Shanks, especially when this is naval headquarters. It doesn't matter, but Sengoku spoke up to stop him at this moment. Marshal. Doberman and all the Marines looked back at Sengoku in surprise. I'll leave it to you, Redhead, Marshal, in this case. It doesn't matter, I will take the responsibility. Facing Doberman's concerns, Sengoku said calmly, then he looked at the red hair and said. You can protect Ace, the son of crime, once, how can you protect him forever? One day we will capture him and execute him again, swearing to the world that we, Marine, are powerful. Shanks closed his eyes and lowered his head, as if to say thank you, and then said, thank you, if he is really caught, it will be his own life. Ace has his own ideas. I can't control his will. If he is caught again, I won't take action. This is my promise to you. Seeing this, Sengoku also nodded. Shanks' identity is a bit complicated, and he knows a little about it. This has something to do with 5 elders. So he chose to end the war at this time. The war is over, Sengoku roared loudly, and his voice spread throughout the battlefield. Marine cheered. The medical team also appeared at this time to treat the Marine soldiers who were not yet dead, but there was a group of people who were frightened. That was Blackbeard's gang. Blackbeard Teach is now unconscious. The remaining people, Shanks, Marine and Xia Luo, are all considered enemies. The current situation is not very good for them. It's not good. In this situation, did I make the wrong choice? Shiryu was so nervous that he shed a cold sweat, glanced at Blackbeard Teach on the ground, and said regretfully. Shanks also saw the unconscious Blackbeard on the ground and muttered to himself. He always felt that this guy was ambitious, but he didn't expect to be defeated by Xia Luo here. And it seemed that he was defeated without any injuries, which gave him a deeper understanding of Xia Luo's strength. Shiryu. Now it's time to settle our accounts. Sengoku and Garp slowly gathered around with their soldiers. This made the fugitives who had just escaped from Impel Down even more nervous. They just escaped from that damn place, and they didn't want to do it again. Captain, wake up quickly. Badgers shook Teach's body vigorously, but the latter remained unmoved and remained unconscious. Hateful. Badgers turned to confront the Marines. At this time, Xia Luo suddenly took action and directly caught Katarina Depin, the Hunter of the Moon. And he was merciless, his long nose was broken by him, and he just grabbed her head. It hurts, let me go, Katarina Depin shouted in pain. But no matter how hard she tried, the hands on his face were locked tightly like iron pliers. I want this guy, and you can do whatever you want with the others, Xia Luo said in a calm tone. But his behavior made other people's expressions even weirder. They know that Xia Luo has very good hair color. Now capture Katarina Depin. Do you want that? But isn't Katarina Depin's appearance too? A little too refined? Could it be that Xia Luo is good at this? Hancock was so jealous that he bit his sleeve, his eyes so scarlet that he wanted to kill someone. Why? Why? As this woman, can't I be a concubine? I chose such an ugly woman. Hancock murmured jealously. Of course, this sentence was heard by Xia Luo. Even if Hancock said it in a low voice, it was like shouting loudly in his ears under his perception of seeing, hearing and color. Is it Katarina Depin that he is greedy for? Just because of her appalling appearance? Although she still has a pretty good figure, Xia Luo is definitely not such a picky person. Speaking of figures, which of the sisters on his ship is not all curvy? Especially Nami, Karina, Perona, Vivi, and Reiju have perfect figures and are still growing. Why does Xia Luo know this? Of course it is the result of daily measurements. The reason why he captured Katarina Deepon was of course because of her fruit ability. Zone K9 Fruit Phantom Beast Species 9 Tails Fox Form. This is a rare Phantom Beast Species fruit ability. There are many girls on his ship who can use this fruit. Moreover, the ability of this fruit is also very good, with the ability to imitate, plus the physical improvement of the Fantasy Beast species. It can allow many girls to break through their previous upper limit and reach higher levels of experience. Tisk. Xia Luo said with a very ugly face, but did not explain. Whatever they think about, as long as they know what to do. Then he used earth coiling to catch Blackbeard Teach, who was unconscious on the ground. Others may not take it, but this Blackbeard is different. Its special physique and dark fruits abilities are extraordinary. Xia Luo will not let the other party develop, etc. At this time, Sengoku shouted, and Xia Luo looked back in confusion. Where do you want to take Blackbeard? This vicious criminal must be imprisoned by Marine and impelled down. Although the red-haired man acted indifferently, he also listened with his ears pricked up. He also wanted to know where Xia Luo wanted to take Blackbeard. What did I think? It turned out that he wanted to steal my spoils. I shot this guy, and what I want to do with him has nothing to do with you. Xia Luo rolled her eyes at him. Sengoku is quite good at gunfighting, and he wants to hand over Blackbeard in just one sentence. Apart from Whitebeard's shock fruit, his biggest gain is Blackbeard. Take it back and give it to Guy and Judge to study. It will definitely make new progress in the research progress. You Guy, didn't you say you only want Katarina Deepon? Why is even Blackbeard now? Sengoku hesitated for a moment, and then looked at Xia Luo with a very strange look. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Xia Luo immediately pointed at his nose angrily and shouted. Hey, Sengoku, what do you mean by that look in your eyes? Do you want to fight again? Forget about Katarina Deepon, she is a woman after all, and now even Blackbeard, they are looking at him with this weird look. He doesn't admit it. If this matter spreads, won't his reputation of Xia Luo be ruined? Xia Luo, the war is over, and I'm also curious about what you want Blackbeard to do. Shanks also came out at this time to stop the two of them from continuing their quarrel. His eyes were more innocent, only curious. He was simply curious about what Xia Luo wanted Blackbeard to do. No comment, but I can tell you that Blackbeard will not appear again. In response, Xia Luo just shook her head and did not tell him. This matter related to his experiment is confidential. Not to mention Marine is here now. Even if the pirate is not here, he would not be able to tell Shanks. Is that so? I understand. Shanks nodded, understanding what Xia Luo meant. He didn't ask any more questions, but turned to look at Sengoku. The meaning was very clear, he was on Xia Luo's side. Tisk, I understand. Marine soldiers, arrest these guys. Sengoku glanced at Shanks with fear, and then ordered the Marine soldiers to surround Shiryu and others. Trouble, it seems I made a wrong bet. Shiryu was sweating profusely, biting his cigar, and said sternly. Oh, I thought that betting on Blackbeard was a good choice, so I followed him to make a big fuss, but I didn't expect that I would be in such an embarrassing situation now. The only remaining Marine backbone, the Vice Admirals of the Naval Headquarters, swarmed over. The remnants of Blackbeard's gang were quickly recaptured. These poor pirates from the 6th underground level were captured once again. This would destroy all their hopes. All of them looked ashen. San Juan Wolf still wants to escape from the sea. He ran away, but was frozen into a popsicle by Aokiji. At this point, the summit war has officially ended. Xia Luo jumped behind Tien Weilong and took off quickly. Just before taking off, he felt someone approaching from behind and successfully climbed onto Xiao Yin's back. But at this time, Xiao Yin could fly into the sky and accelerate away. Xia Luo turned his head and looked, and as expected, it was that person. Pirate Empress Boa Hancock. She looked a little nervous now, as if she wanted to speak but didn't know what to say. What's the matter? Boa Hancock. Seeing her like this, Xia Luo raised the corners of her mouth, revealing a wicked smile that Nami and the others could recognize at a glance. He probably knew what Hancock wanted to do, but it would be more interesting to let him talk about this kind of thing. Hancock is now firmly in his hands. Even if Hancock doesn't come up now, he will go to the other party's island later when he has time. Hancock's expression finally became firm after going through twists and turns, shyness, and confusion. If there's anything wrong with me, it's that I've fallen in love with you. I'm asking you if you would like to return to Amazon Lily with me and become my wife. Hancock changed her previous expression and turned into her usual extremely arrogant state, with her head tilted back, revealing her imperial Haki look. But in front of Xia Luo was that flawless figure. Coupled with the extremely tempting Changsam, with Xia Luo's strength, she couldn't help but feel so excited that she wanted to be petrified. After all, he didn't use armament Haki to resist, and the nature of LSP coupled with it certainly couldn't resist Hancock's charm. But in the end he endured it. How could he give up a forest for a big tree? However, Hancock's speech still shocked him. What does it mean to let him return to Amazon Lily to be her wife? Doesn't this reverse the relationship between men and women? After recovering, Xia Luo's head was covered with black lines. He walked up and hugged Hancock's slender waist. The latter's body trembled immediately, and the slender hand that was originally pointing at Xia Luo stretched out, and put both hands on his chest in a panic, looking a little panicked. What did you just say? You want me to be your wife? Xia Luo gently raised her mouth and gradually leaned her face closer. Hancock suddenly blushed and wanted to retreat in a panic. She was not used to this look. Chapter 167 Free Hancock, Free Amazon Lily. That's right, I've fallen in love with you. It's your honor. Hancock's eyes became determined, then he nodded and said. He and Xia Luo did not know each other before, nor did he understand Xia Luo, so it was difficult for him to have a common language, but he still boldly showed his love in his own way. In response, Xia Luo smiled, then leaned forward and kissed Hancock's red lips. Hancock let out a surprised cry. His expression became flustered, and under Xia Luo's skillful guidance, Hancock gradually became familiar with it. After a long time, only then did Xia Luo let her go. Da. Hancock breathed heavily and did not dare to look at Xia Luo. How do you feel now? Xia Luo smiled and asked Hancock. It feels pretty good. Are you agreeing to my proposal? Hancock asked shyly after taking a moment to breathe normally. Huh? Don't you understand yet? Xia Luo frowned, then leaned forward again. Hey. Hancock groaned again. This time the action was even more intense than before. She felt like she was suffocating. It wasn't until Xia Luo let go of her that she realized she could still breathe and began to gasp for air. Let's be clear, it's not that I want to be your wife, but that you want to be my woman, do you understand? Xia Luo pinched her chin, as if the other person would let her experience the suffocation again if she dared to say no. Yes. Yes, Master Xia Luo. Unexpectedly, Hancock had a blushing look on his face and just lay quietly in Xia Luo's arms like a little woman, without the arrogance of the past. Now she, 720, is just a woman who longs for love. After a moment of tenderness, Hancock slowly left Xia Luo's arms. Is there anything that Sir Xia Luo needs my strength for? No matter what it is, I will fully support you. Hancock's face turned red and he said infatuatedly. Xia Luo rubbed her chin and thought carefully for a while. I don't have anything that needs Hancock's help, but I do need Hancock very much. But he still made a request of his own. I need you to get out of Shichibukai's position. No problem. Hancock nodded in agreement without hesitation. He did not consider the possibility that Amazon Lily would be punished by Marine if he agreed to Xia Luo. She is the kind of woman who can do anything for love without hesitation. Well, and I want Amazon Lily. No problem, if Mr. Xia Luo wants, you can become the king of Amazon Lily. Hancock nodded and agreed. What a good woman. Xia Luo supported Hancock's head and said softly. As long as it's for Lord Xia Luo, no matter what it is, I can do it for you. Hancock nuzzled Xia Luo obediently and said with a blushing face. I have already agreed to all of Lord Xia Luo's requests, so can Lord Xia Luo. Can you also grant me a request? Huh, you say? Xia Luo asked with curiosity on her face. He was quite curious about what Hancock could ask for. As long as this woman likes someone, she can be said to be as good as BABY5. However, he didn't fully agree. He had to see what was going on first. If the other person asked him to only like one person in the future, he would have to do what he promised. Master Xia Luo can do anything to me, but can you throw this woman away? I don't like this woman. Hancock first hugged his face and twisted shyly, then pointed at the fainted Katarina de Pen with a ferocious look. The next one looked dumbfounded. It turns out that Hancock still remembers this incident. He obviously wanted to use Katarina de Pen to do experiments, but he didn't expect that Hancock actually remembered it. Okay, I understand what Hancock is thinking. I want to take this woman back for experiments. Her devil fruit is very useful. Xia Luo smiled helplessly and touched Hancock's head to comfort her. Really, of course, with a woman as beautiful as Hancock, how could I possibly fall in love with such an ugly woman? Xia Luo is already sweating profusely. He really doesn't like Katarina de Pen, but why does it feel like everyone doesn't believe it? I see, I thought Master Xia Luo was attracted to this woman. This is really great. Hancock smiled happily and finally let go of some of his anxiety, but her behavior made Xia Luo worried. There are a lot of women here. If Hancock is jealous like this, I really don't know what will happen next. So Xia Luo planned to give Hancock a vaccination first. Hancock, look at me. Xia Luo pinched her chin and turned Hancock's charming face around. Yes. Yes, Mr. Xia Luo. Do you still want? Hancock's face turned red and he felt eager to try. She thought Xia Luo would love her again like he did just now. Hancock, I have to remind you first. I have a lot of women. Even so, I like every girl around me and will not give up on them for one person, so can you get along well with them? Xia Luo said softly with an affectionate look on her face. Hancock's face was tangled, and he nodded slowly after a while. Although I am very reluctant to share Master Xia Luo with others, if it is Master Xia Luo's request, I will endure it. Very good, be good, that's your reward. Xia Luo gently tapped her forehead and said softly. Emotional Sir Xia Luo is so handsome, he feels very safe. Hancock felt a little disappointed at first, and then looked like a nymphomaniac, almost crying. It seems that the little fangirl status has been cultivated into a positive state. Let's go to Amazon Lily first. After getting rid of the Shichibukai title, Amazon Lily is no longer safe and must be moved to the New World. Yes. Master Xia Luo. Hancock agreed without hesitation. Then I took out the Amazon Lily Nautical Eternity hand. At Xia Luo's order, Xiao Yin flew straight in the direction of Amazon Lily at an extremely fast speed. This is not far from the location of Amazon Lily, below the triangle area formed by Eni's lobby, impelled down in naval headquarters. Like impelled down, it belongs to the calm belt area, because there will not be any wind blowing here, it is named after this. There are countless giant sea kings living here, and because of this special environment, Amazon lilies have been protected from many people. Now that Marine has developed a powered warship, the calm belt can no longer stop Marine sailing. Amazon Lily. Also known as Daughter Island, as the name suggests, this is an island where only women live. The island is home to a female fighting nation called the Nine Snakes. The country they established on the island is also called Amazon Lily, and the current emperor is Boa Hancock, one of the Shichibukai pirate empresses. The women here spend their daily lives training, fighting, and hunting. But an unexpected person broke the peace of this map. Outside the palace of Nine Snake City, a group of female warriors were quietly lying outside the window or by the door, peeping secretly. They are members of the Nine Snakes pirates, as well as Amazon warriors who protect the country. Is that the legendary man? A girl with short yellow hair, slightly raised hair, wearing a revealing animal skin bikini, with a black and green striped snake wrapped around her waist, was curiously looking at the scene in the palace and asked. Shish. Keep your voice down, if the Empress finds out, we will be doomed. A strong woman on the side covered her mouth and whispered. It's no problem. Everyone in the pirate group is also peeking. The Empress will not care. Compared with this, I am more curious about why the Empress suddenly. Bring back a man. A tall woman on the other side smiled and said. They are Amazon Lily's national warriors, Margaret, Stabby, and Euphilandola. The three of them all have good strength, so they hold the position of national protector. Almost everyone here has mastered the power of Haki and is a veritable fighting nation. The Empress must have her own meaning in doing things, so let's not make so many guesses. Stabby said calmly, but aren't you curious? Euphilandora questioned her with curious eyes. The latter had a drop of sweat on his forehead and pretended not to care. It would be a lie to say that you are not curious. That is the Empress, a being who hates men extremely. This time she returned to Amazon Lily with a man abnormally. The soul of 8 trigrams is burning in the hearts of these women. What? The sudden shouting broke the little movements of the 3 women, and they all stretched their heads back to check secretly. You said you wanted to quit your position in the 7 warlords of the sea and join his command? Before Amazon Lily, the previous emperor, Granny Nu shouted loudly in shock. That's right. Do you have any objections to Aija's decision? Hancock said with arrogance and disdain. Isn't it too reckless to make such a sudden decision? Without the identity of 7 warlords of the sea, what should Amazon Lily do? Granny Nu is already jumping up and down anxiously. The identity of 7 warlords of the sea is a protection card that protects Amazon Lily's stability. In the past, Marines could not cross the calm belt, and even if they were lucky enough to come here, the Sea Kings would not let them go. This is a terrain that is easy to defend but difficult to attack. But things are different now. Marine has developed a powered warship that can cross the calm belt without relying on wind power. Without the protection of calm belt, how can Amazon Lily stop Marine's crusade? If it is blocked, how long can it be blocked? The I family is just informing you, not discussing this matter with you. You just need to announce the news to the soldiers on the island. Hancock pointed at Granny Nu's nose and cursed, then turned around and said to Xia Luo with a gentle and shy look. Master Xia Luo, it's no problem, just wait a moment. Granny Nu was so surprised that she was speechless. This look is so familiar. She'd seen it a few times. She used to look like this. Well, after we notify the residents to calm down their emotions, we will start implementing the plan. Xia Luo smiled softly and stroked Hancock's soft hair. Hancock trembled shyly, then looked at Xia Luo with some fascination and said, Then Hancock. Can he get the reward from Master Xia Luo first? Hancock looked so obsessed and intoxicated, tapping his lips lightly with his slender hand, his meaning self-evident. Xia Luo glanced at the people around her, Granny Nu, the 2 sisters Sandersonia and Marigold, and a group of female warriors peeping outside the door. The female warrior immediately retracted her head. Xia Luo touched her head in embarrassment. It was okay to play tricks in front of her own woman, but in front of so many outsiders, Xia Luo still couldn't let go. He could only gently touch Hancock's soft hair, then lean into her ear and whisper softly. Wait for tonight, I will give you a different reward tonight. It's Mr. Xia Luo. Hancock leaned into Xia Luo's arms with a happy face. He didn't lie down for 2 seconds, but he pointed at Granny Nu's nose with an angry look and cursed. I didn't hear what Mr. Xia Luo just said. You damn old woman, why don't you hurry up and inform the people on the island? This angry outburst finally woke up the stunned Granny Nu. Granny Nu quickly asked. What is the plan you just talked about? And, Hancock, you and Xia Luo are. 3.7 Granny Nu certainly knows the name of the famous Golden Lion 2 Xia Luo number. It's just that she has no idea when Hancock hooked up with Xia Luo. Obviously the other party's whereabouts have been very secretive, so Hancock should have never been in contact with him. She's such an annoying old woman, so I'll tell you. The plan is of course to let Amazon Lily join Master Xia Luo, do you understand? As for Lord Xia Luo and I have decided to become Lord Xia Luo's wife. Amazon will also be ruled by Lord Xia Luo, and I will abdicate and become Lord Xia Luo's princess. Hancock said impatiently at first, but the news was as if he hadn't said it yet, which confused Granny Nu. Then when he talked about her relationship with Xia Luo, he looked shy and kept saying Xia Luo's name. Granny Nu still didn't understand what Hancock's plan was. What's next? Things just exploded in her head. What, you want to give up the throne to an outsider? No, absolutely not. Generations of Amazon emperors have been women on the island, and you absolutely cannot allow a man to become the king here. Hancock, you are making a fool of yourself. Granny Nu said directly and loudly. At this moment, she no longer cared about the identity of Empress Hancock, and tried her best to stop her dangerous thoughts. The Aija is the emperor of the Amazon. The Aija's decision does not require your approval. Regarding Granny Nu's scolding, Hancock did not listen, but said angrily. Sister, please calm down first, Granny Nu doesn't mean this either. Sandersonia and Marigold were on the side trying to persuade them, with complicated expressions on their faces. Chapter 168 Moving the Island. Okay, Hancock, let me explain. Xia Luo reluctantly pulled Hancock back and let her lie quietly in her arms. Asking Hancock to explain, she couldn't explain it clearly at all. She didn't want to tell Granny Nu at all. Seeing Xia Luo speak, Granny Nu also calmed down and waited calmly for Xia Luo's explanation. The soldiers outside were also very curious. They only knew that a fierce quarrel broke out here, but they didn't understand what was being said. They don't have the guts to use observation Haki to eavesdrop on what's being said, so I don't know how many people were talking inside. As Hancock said before, Amazon Lily has been designated as my territory. As for safety issues, you don't have to worry. Xia Luo said slowly in a deep voice, and after thinking for a while, she continued. You should know my abilities, right? Granny Nu nodded. I will bring the Amazon Lily Island back to the New World, and then Marine will have nothing to do with it. As for the Amazon throne, just continue to use your habits to choose a new king. I will not interfere. After listening, Granny Nu fell into deep thought. Hancock became anxious first and said pitifully. Mr. Xia Luo, are you dissatisfied with Amazon Lily? The people in my kingdom are all good warriors, and they will definitely be able to help you a lot. Hancock looked at Xia Luo in a panic and said anxiously. It was as if she couldn't accept Xia Luo not being the emperor. I understand what you mean. If I need to use your power, I will tell you. Xia Luo rubbed Hancock's little head and said softly. Hancock also lay quietly and happily in Xia Luo's arms, rubbing his big hand affectionately, seeming to enjoy it very much. Granny Nu on the side also came to the result after thinking for a while. Xia Luo has the strategic fruit ability of lion fruit, which can really protect Amazon Lily. Moreover, the opponent is very powerful and is now called the fifth emperor. The news of Whitebeard's death has just been revealed, so Xia Luo must be the one to succeed Whitebeard as the four emperors. The protection of the 424 emperors seems to be no less than that of the Marine 7 warlords of the sea. Moreover, with the relationship between Xia Luo and Hancock, Amazon Lily will also develop better. There is no need for the pirate group to go out and plunder supplies anymore. Amazon Lily relies on Hancock to rob them of their supplies. The currency they use here is not Bailey's, but snake hair. Food is also caught and raised by the people here. The other goods were snatched back by Hancock. Therefore, compared to the legal rights of 7 warlords of the sea to plunder, it seems better to rely on the mountain of Xia Luo. It's not impossible to join your command while maintaining Hancock's throne. Amazon Lily can also develop steadily. Granny Nu said in a deep voice. Humph, with Master Xia Luo here, Amazon Lily doesn't need to worry at all. Hancock snorted coldly and said in a calm tone. I'm going to notify them right now, so that they can prepare for relocation, and also call in civilians who are fishing overseas. Granny Nu nodded in agreement. It's good that you know. You can go down. I want to be alone with Mr. Xia Luo for a while, and you guys? Have you done anything? What are you doing here? Please tell me what to do. Double the training. Hancock waved Granny Nu and his 2 sisters to leave, and then scolded a group of female warriors who were looking curiously at the door. Yes. The protector of the nation warriors and the combatants of the 9 Snakes pirates stood up one after another, saluted, and roared loudly. Alas, is this the fate of every generation of Amazon Empress? Hancock will not be able to escape after all. Seeing Hancock lying in Xia Luo's arms obsessively, Granny Nu couldn't help but shook her head and sighed. A long time ago, she also went to sea because she fell in love with someone. While out at sea, he also joined Rock's pirate group. And also experienced the Battle of the Valley of the Gods. At that time, Shaki had not yet become the emperor of the Amazons, but a crew member on her ship. It wasn't until she retired that Shaki took her place. Who knew Shaki would run away with Rayleigh in the end? It seems that every generation of Amazon emperors will experience a test of love. Those who fail the test can only die alone, just like her now. Fortunately, she survived the lovesickness, her thoughts suddenly became clearer, and she did not die because of it. Not long after, Sandersonia came over to report that the people of the country had been notified to return to the island to wait for Hancock's speech. Granny New had already told them in advance that Amazon Lily was going to be relocated. However, there are still many questions surrounding their little heads. Hancock also brought Xia Luo to the arena outside. She sat high on the throne, and the people were waiting quietly for the Empress' speech. When they saw Xia Luo, everyone looked at Xia Luo with curious eyes. Most of them have never met a man. Only the fighting members of the Nine Snakes Pirates who followed Hancock to sea have seen him. Is this a man? He doesn't look much different from us, just a little flat. I think she looks very beautiful, just like the Empress, but this kind of beauty seems a little different. I heard that he is very powerful. I don't know if he can defeat the Empress, but he doesn't seem to be very strong. Men are probably different. The Empress's body is not very strong, but she has special abilities. Maybe that man also has some special abilities. Okay, stop talking. The Empress is going to start speaking. The women on the island began to discuss. Most of them were discussing on Xia Luo's identity, and curiosity about him as a man. After seeing that Hancock wanted to speak, they also stopped talking and remained quiet without making a sound. Later, Hancock also informed all the female warriors on the island that 9 Snakes had officially joined the Xia Luo pirates, and the whole country was advancing together. Everyone exclaimed. Whether they were old or young, they had never experienced such a thing, and they were still a little panicked for a while. Then, Xia Luo slowly walked up and began to use her abilities. Amazon Lily was also among the shocked eyes of everyone, slowly floating up. Even the presence of the Empress could not suppress the discussions of these common people. This god-like power conquered the female war king here. People with a little knowledge understand that this is Devil Fruit's ability, while young female warriors who have never been to the sea regard Xia Luo as a god. The status in their hearts is only ranked below their Empress, but the storm soon stopped, under Hancock's sharp scolding. Is that Mr. Xia Luo's island? It's so amazing, Margaret exclaimed in surprise. After a day, Xia Luo also got acquainted with the 9 Snakes pirates and the soldiers who protected the country. Among them, Margaret is the most lively and curious one, and also the most beautiful among the soldiers who protect the country, so she and Xia Yao quickly became familiar with each other. In response to this, Hancock was jealous and wanted to put Margaret in jail. After Xia Luo's persuasion and comfort, she finally gave up. Margaret was so scared that she was afraid to contact Xia Luo. However, with the latter's intentional approach, she finally became familiar with him. Moving the island using lion fruit will not be very fast, so it will take a day to reach the calm belt on the Longyu Island side. During this day, Xia Luo not only became familiar with the people in 9 Snakes, but also directly captured Hancock and others that night. Even though Hancock was the top expert in the world, he couldn't bear all Xia Luo did. In the end, he was so disappointed that he could only ask Xia Luo to find others for help, but this was not Xia Ling's base camp. Nami and other women from Xia Luo are not here either. In line with the idea that wealth should not be transferred to outsiders, Hancock suggested that Xia Luo ask his 2 sisters for help. This scared Xia Luo very much. Sandersonia and Marigrud look like this now. One is fat and the other has a huge head, which is completely inconsistent with Xia Luo's aesthetics. Moreover, both of them are very large. Xia Luo still needs to be released from the ban before she can hold them down. Really, it's too much trouble. Xia Luo shook her head decisively and refused. Helpless, Hancock could only let Xia Luo choose people from the 9 Snakes pirates or the Protectorate warriors to serve him. Margaret, Yfalandola and others were the people selected by Xia Luo. His aesthetics is very strict, and of course he chooses the most beautiful ones, or those with different styles. Under Xia Luo's little instruction, everyone quickly learned it. So it became a sparring battle between Xia Luo and several others, and now it was time to accept their results. Hancock could only look at them helplessly and disappointedly, scolding himself for his incompetence, and replied that her body was so weak that she didn't want to move at all. But in the end they were all defeated. With Xia Luo's current physique, it would not be a problem for them to fight for 10 days and 10 nights, but Hancock's and the others' physiques are not comparable to Xia Luo's, and coupled with severe water loss, they will be defeated quickly. Yes, this is where you will live in the future. Xia Luo rubbed her head and said softly. A new home? It looks great. Margaret's eyes were shining and she said expectantly. Just looking at these beautiful islands made Margaret full of desire to explore. Master Xia Luo, you dote on Margaret too much. The Empress will be jealous. Jendon on the side suddenly said at this time. She was also one of the people who served Xia Luo last night and was a sniper of the 9 Snakes pirates. A woman with a hot figure and scantily clad clothes, very much in line with the Amazon Lily style. Hearing this, Margaret's head shrank, recalling Hancock's furious expression yesterday. It's okay, Hancock won't care about such a trivial matter now. Xia Luo turned to Hancock and smiled, and said in an easygoing tone. Yes. Yes, no matter what Mr. Xia Luo does, I can accept it. Hancock held his little face and said embarrassedly with a blushing face. After she handed herself over to Xia Luo, his temperament changed dramatically and he became more mature. And Hancock felt that his sweet fruit seemed to have another special effect. Hancock got a hypnosis effect. According to Xia Luo's guess, Tiantian fruit is a rare twin fruit. The person who eats it gains unparalleled charm and initially unlocks the ability to petrify. After Hancock completed his transformation, another fruit's ability gradually emerged, that is hypnosis. The effect of this hypnosis is more powerful than the original effect of charming men. Even strong people will be Hancock hypnosis if they don't pay attention. Even people who are not affected by Hancock's charm will be given hypnosis by this hypnosis ability. Unless powerful Haki is used to resist this hypnosis ability. 687. From now on, we will all be a family, so there is no need to be too restrained. I believe the crew members on my ship will also like you very much. Xia Luo hugged Genshin and squeezed it casually, smiling. This kind of luxurious life is really... It made him very intoxicated. Amazon lilies are amazing. Except for Hancock, the women here are not very averse to these things, which allows Xia Luo to do whatever she wants without any worries. Long Dan snorted and looked at Xia Luo's big hand on his chest curiously, wondering why he did this. However, Master Xia Luo seemed to like it very much, so she didn't care much. Hancock behind him was staring at Xia Luo's big hand, biting his sleeve with a very jealous look. Although she said she didn't care, in fact she always had jealousy, but it was suppressed. After a while, Amazon Lily slowly moved closer to Longyu Island. Under the control of Xia Luo, Longyu Island is connected. As soon as Xia Luo landed on the island, she received surprised and strange looks from Nami and others. Nami and the others were shocked when they looked at the vast group of beauties around Xia Luo, especially the Empress Boa Hancock. How did you do it? When you went out to participate in a war, you even abducted the Empress. It seems like you took her family with you. Nami looked at Hancock and the Amazon Lily behind him and said calmly. Of course it's because my charm conquered Hancock, right? Xia Luo straightened her body, wiped her nose and said narcissistically. Yes, it was Master Xia Luo's charm that conquered me. Hancock looked like a slut, holding his cheek and echoing. As soon as these words came out, Nami and the others were shocked. They looked at Hancock first, and then at BABY5. For a moment, they felt that the attributes of the two people were very similar. They all seemed to be the type of women who obey Xia Luo's words. But they are very curious, how did Xia Luo make the Empress become like this? Is it possible that Xia Luo is really so charming? They glanced at the narcissistic Xia Luo again, thinking of the other person's temperament. This guy has a certain charm. Nami and the others looked at him with disdain. Reiju, I'll leave them to you to settle them down. Whatever supplies they need can be arranged for them. The living habits of 9 Snakes warriors are different from ours. You can teach her first. 11. Oh, by the way, these two people also brought them to Guy. I told them before about the specific purpose, Khalifa. I will leave these people to you. After finishing his speech, Xia Luo also became serious and asked Reiju to settle these 9 Snakes warriors first. Then he remembered Blackbeard and Katarina Deepon, so he dropped them both and asked Khalifa to bring Geisa and Judge. Chapter 169. I will definitely become the main palace. Yes, Captain. Yes, Captain. Reiju and Khalifa Kaido at the same time. Both of them are now Xia Luo's secretaries, helping Xia Luo handle affairs. Xia Luo also felt relieved to leave the matter to them. Okay Xia Luo, it seems you had a good day yesterday. Karina bumped Xia Luo with her elbow and said with a smirk. For a slut like the Empress, she didn't believe that Xia Luo would leave them eat alone for a woman who was submissive and obedient to Xia Luo. She must have been completely eaten yesterday. So far so good. Xia Luo laughed twice and finally asked again. Nothing happened at home, right? Speaking of this, you really stole the show yesterday. You will never believe how crazy those pirates have been in the past 2 days. Hearing Xia Luo's inquiry, Nami rubbed her temples with a headache and said with a complicated look. Huh? What happened? Seeing this, Xia Luo asked in surprise. It's about Whitebeard. After Whitebeard's death, the new 4 emperors have been determined to be you. Countless pirates have witnessed your fighting prowess during the Summit War. Many pirates came here to join us. Under Reiju's arrangement, Shiki's old subordinates have been recruiting troops outside during this period, gathering countless people on the sea. Evil man. Nami spoke to Xia Luo. Is there such a thing? Xia Luo said with a surprised look on her face. Unexpectedly, I went to participate in a war and invisibly gathered an army. Yes, now you are truly one of the 4 emperors. You are no longer a person with only a name but no power. Nami put her hands on her hips and said angrily. Xia Luo's virtue is really not like that of a strong man, but rather like the mentality of a little pirate. As long as he lives a prosperous life and has a woman, he will be fine. It doesn't matter how powerful or not you are, I only need you as my crew. I don't need any other men to be my crew. It's enough for those people to be my thugs. Xia Luo hugged Nami and Karina and said with a flattering look on her face. You still have a conscience. Nami pinched Xia Luo's face and rolled her eyes at him. You are so powerful now. There are a lot of beauties who want to join, just to get the blessing of your new 4 emperors. Hearing this, Xia Luo's eyes lit up. He didn't expect that being famous would have such benefits. However, he has no interest in ordinary women who did not appear in the original work. At least, it was the faces like Pacia that left an impression on him. Even if Pacia showed her face, it was only as her dancer, not as a crew member on his ship. It has to be a beauty like Nami who is beautiful and has many roles to suit his liking. I'm not as pretty as you. Xia Luo rubbed their faces affectionately. Okay, let's talk about the rest until we get back. You should not be injured. Karina touched Xia Luo's chest distressedly, wanting to see if he had any injuries. She saw it in the videophone bug. Xia Luo, Martial Marine and Hero Marine had been facing each other for so long. In the past, these people were at a height that was difficult for them to spy on, but now they are working together to fight against Xia Luo alone. The most powerful people they knew were the Marine Admiral and the 4 Emperors. They had rarely heard of the 4 Emperors before, only the name Whitebeard. Don't worry, I promised you to come back safely. Look, nothing will happen. Hearing Khalifa's worried words, Xia Luo's eyes softened and he turned around in front of them to show that his body was completely fine. In this battle, the punch he took against Garp made him feel a little numb, but it was nothing serious. Garp's fists are indeed not very easy to catch, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to cross the sea for so many years. It's okay. Seeing this, Nami also secretly breathed a sigh of relief, but she looked a little arrogant. Then Nami looked at Hancock and others. No need to be too restrained, we will be on the same boat from now on. Nami walked up to Hancock cordially and took Hancock's hand with a smile on his face. Although Hancock talks very strongly, when he actually faces Nami and other officials, he is still a little restrained and strange. Nami did this because she saw Hancock's unnaturalness. I will never admit defeat, the position in the main palace will definitely belong to me. Facing the kind eyes of Nami and others, Hancock showed a very tangled look, and then turned into his original arrogant character and pointed at Nami and others. Even if he is a latecomer, he must never admit defeat, this is Hancock's belief. She has decided on the location of Xia Luo's main palace. Nami and others all looked dumbfounded. Xia Luo's main palace, they have given up this senseless competition. As long as you like it, Nami shrugged and said nonchalantly. The cunning Xia Luo promised to marry them, but he has not done anything yet, they are all used to it. There are so many women who don't know how long they will let him marry, and whether they have status or not, it is impossible for them to leave Xia Luo. Nami took the lead and led a group of Amazon warriors to the palace. The warriors of the 9 Snakes Pirates have some experience. Margaret, Yafe Handora, and Master Kikyo who protect the warriors have never seen such a building or relatively modern building. Everything here is different from Amazon Lily, which is an eye-opener for them. The other members of the 9 Snakes Pirates followed Reiju away, only Lan and Ringtong followed Xia Luo, and now they also have the identity of serving Xia Luo as maids. Master Xia Luo, those 2 people have been handed over to Gai Sa. Gai Sa is very satisfied with this phantom beast species and the prisoner with a special physique. He vowed to develop a special artificial phantom beast species devil fruit for you. Khalifa returned to the palace and said respectfully to Xia Luo. Well, I got it. You must keep more tabs on these 2 people, especially Blackbeard. This guy is not a bad guy. If you give him more than 10 years, he will be a difficult enemy. Xia Luo nodded and said calmly. Blackbeard is a character, he knows how to be patient, and he has the heaven-defying fruit ability of dark fruit. It is just around the corner to create an army with all devil fruit abilities. He planned to let Guy take advantage of it first to dig out the secrets of the opponent's body, and then use Judge's technology to see if he could create a bunch of clone soldiers. Experiment on clone soldiers to develop the perfect artificial devil fruit. This kind of clone soldier who obeys orders is more suitable for the position of guard. Although the clone soldier's minds are not perfect, the upper limit is not too high. He can only serve as a law enforcement escort everywhere after he rules the world. The endless sky. Above the sea in the New World Combelt, a dozen large ships are docked in this sea area. Countless figures on the boat were looking up at the sky, looking at the dozens of islands above, and were shocked and speechless. Even if they are pirates from the New World, they have never seen such a huge battle. Those are more than a dozen islands, all floating in the sky. It's amazing. Boss Xia Luo is so powerful, one pirate couldn't help but mutter to himself. His words were unanimously recognized by the pirates next to him. A pirate leader couldn't help but swallowed when he saw this scene, then turned to look at the people around him and asked. Hey, Hog, can we really meet Boss Xia Luo? Huh, don't think too much. People like Boss Xia Luo will not be able to meet him unless there is a major battle that requires your strength. Hog looked at him and said calmly. He is one of several leaders of the old Golden Lion department, not really a cadre, he used to be at the squad leader level. Now I'm at Lei. Under Ju's arrangement, they became one of the personnel who managed his pirate group. He is also one of the people in charge of recruiting New World pirates. Ah, then we have joined Master Xia Luo's command? After hearing this, the pirate leader said in surprise. If you can't even see your boss, what kind of joining is this? Of course, Sister Reiju has already given orders. You will become the island's guards and combatants, and you will fight for Lord Xia Luo in the future. This way we can officially become members of the 4 Emperors pirate group, the pirate leader said excitedly. Boss Xia Luo will definitely become the new Pirate King, and by then we will also be considered the crew of One Piece. The other little pirates also said in excited tones. They all came for this purpose and were blessed by the four emperors. Based on the ambition shown by Xia Luo in Summit War, they determined that Xia Luo would definitely pursue the position of Pirate King. When the time comes, I and others can also become members of the second-generation Pirate King, which is exciting just thinking about it. How many people went to sea for the Pirate King's treasure, and now they have the opportunity to see the legendary treasure. Just as these pirates were immersed in their own fantasies, they did not see Hog's disdainful eyes. Oh, you guys can only become Boss Xia Luo's black slaves and work for Boss Xia Luo until you die. Oh. Just when everyone was immersed in their own fantasy time, a sharp female voice sounded, which was like the princess smile of the eldest lady in the animation, waking up everyone present. I saw several young and beautiful women walking out of the cabin. If Xia Luo saw this scene, his expression would definitely be very exciting. There are many acquaintances of his among these girls. Although he has never seen them in this world, in the previous world, Xia Luo knew the identities of these people very well. The two beauties in Impel Down are Sadie Chan, the chief warden, and Domino, the deputy warden. Peacock and Skylark from the Marine Special Forces Blade Team. Needless to say, these four must be undercover agents sent by the world government. World government is also very smart, choosing two beauties from Impel Down who rarely appear in public as undercover agents. Marine's Blade Force is also a special force, and is not part of Marine's military membership, and is a secretive personnel. Now he has been sent to Xia Luo's side as an undercover agent. The person who just spoke was a slender woman with black hair and a beautiful face. Her biggest feature is that her skin is very smooth and she has a confident smile. Next to her, there is a girl with short golden shawl hair tied into golden twin tails and bangs parted in the middle. She looks like she is very good at playing basketball. They all have very sexy figures and are dressed in revealing clothes. You stinky men, just be happy. Only girls as beautiful as us are qualified to be by Mr. Xia Luo's side. Oh, Lee. The beauty with long black hair is Alvida, the pirate that the protagonist Luffy first met when he went to sea. Just like the original book, she got the slippery fruit to make her skin smooth, and she successfully lost weight and became a great beauty. That's right, Master Xia Luo only recruits women as his crew, and stinky men like you are just coolie subordinates. The beauty with short golden hair is the sweetheart queen who appeared in the movie, met Alvida by chance and formed a beautiful girl group. One day they happened to see Xia Luo's deeds in the newspaper. They looked at Xia Luo's handsome face, the reported deeds, and his strong strength in the newspaper. The two got interested in seeing Xia Luo and decided to find Xia Luo and join him. Pirates. From East Blue to the Grand Line and then to the New World, after going through countless hardships, I finally received a group of recruiters from Xia Luo a few days ago, and they came over happily. There are many girls who want to become Xia Luo women. There are hundreds of young and beautiful women alone, and they are only a very small group. Those who can really join Xia Luo's ship need to be screened by Xia Luo herself. The world government was worried that Xia Luo would not be selected, so it found many beauties among Marine's abilities. Of course, it's not just the Blade Force and Impel Down. There are also many women in the Marine who are sent out to perform secret missions. If Hina and Tashigi hadn't met Xia Luo, or if Momosagi's reputation was too great, the world government would have sent them out. Now Xia Luo is the most important target of the world government. They will go undercover to get information from him at any cost. Haha, Xia Luo may not be interested in you vulgar fans. Only I who have strong strength, beauty and intelligence are qualified to be favored. Peacock showed a disdainful smile, holding a long whip in his hand, and said contemptuously. Her current identity is an unknown female captain in the New World, and Skylark and Domino. And Sadie Chan are her crewmates. The world government tried to use this identity of a female pirate captain to seduce Xia Luo. This novel identity should be more able to seduce Xia Luo into choosing their marine. I wonder what it would be like to train a powerful man like Xia Luo. Sadie Chan spoke slowly in a very seductive voice, not forgetting to lick her red lips with her tongue. Her style doesn't look like a normal marine soldier at all, not to mention that no one has ever seen her before. She is one of the perfect undercover candidates. Coupled with the fact that the other party is playing a lot of tricks, Marine has a high chance of succeeding as an undercover agent. Chapter 170. Is this going to drain Xia Luo dry? What did you say? How dare you call us vulgar fans? Don't think that just because you have some strength in your identity as a pirate captain, you will be chosen by Mr. Xia Luo. You are not the only one who has the identity of a pirate captain. I used to be a famous captain in East Blue Shell. Yes, that's right. Now that we two sisters are joining together, I don't believe that Mr. Xia Luo will not be able to choose us. Faced with the peacock's contempt, Alvida and Queen Sweetheart glared at each other and sang in harmony. They are also very confident in their appearance. You said you are also a pirate captain and you want to test your strength? Peacock waved his long whip and said with great interest. Am I still afraid of you? Alvida said angrily. She also knew about Peacock's abilities, and the two of them had even fought. However, Alvida's slippery fruit can easily cut through her long whip, and the peacock fruit has no effect on her, But other objects under her control cannot be easily slipped by Rita. But other things are solved by the Sugar Queen. Queen Sweetheart is a user with pulp fruit abilities. She has special abilities like Logia. Her body can turn into liquid to avoid physical attacks. But unlike Katakori's glutinous fruit, which can turn into a solid substance, the pulpy fruit can only turn into liquid. Through her development, the paste liquid has mastered a special ability, which is corrosion. The liquid can easily corrode people's clothes and objects such as stones. The degree of corrosion of the human body will be greatly reduced, and it will be more like a skill developed for a special purpose. Okay, two aunts, stop arguing. With your looks, Sir Xia Luo will definitely fall in love with you. Now we just need to wait for Sir Xia Luo to arrive. I have already informed Sister Reiju. Hog reluctantly stepped forward to break up the fight. He couldn't understand what these women were thinking. They would argue endlessly every time they met, but these girls happened to be very beautiful. This was his gift to the boss Xia Luo, so there was no room for mistakes. 6 beautiful girls with different styles. I wonder if their status will be improved this time. I guess I can take a job at Punk Hazard, Hog thought excitedly. He recruited these 6 beautiful girls, so all the credit goes to him. Look, what is that? Suddenly a pirate pointed in the direction of Sky Island and shouted. The 2 people who were originally arguing also stopped and looked up together with Queen 787. Is it finally coming? Who will it be? Is it Xia Luo himself who will be there in person? Peacock took back his long whip, crossed his arms, and said with interest. Sadie Chan behind her also looked very interested. Domino seems to have nothing to do with himself, while Skylark is a little timid and a little at a loss. A black shadow was flying down quickly on the island. Everyone looked at the visitor with various emotions such as excitement, strangeness, and eagerness to try. When they saw who was coming, they immediately burst into exclamations. That's it. The Sky Comet Dragon known as the Silver-Winged Evil Star, Lord Xia Luo's partner. I didn't expect to see such a legendary figure. Silver-Winged Evil Star is a strong man who can fight 2 admirals with 1 dragon alone. Is it actually such a legend who picks us up? It's such an honor. The pirates burst into cheers, as they seemed to feel that Xia Luo valued them and others. But in fact, Xia Luo was too lazy to go to the sea and asked Xiao Yindai to go and pull these people up. The legendary dragon that made a big splash in Summit War. I don't know if it was a human who ate the phantom beast seed fruit or if it was really a dragon. Peacock said with great interest. She became more and more curious about Xia Luo. As everyone knows, being curious about a man is the beginning of his downfall. Soon, Xiao Yin came to the sea, and the pirates saw Xiao Yin's true appearance more clearly. Haki's appearance, hard scales, and powerful wings are the dreams of countless men. Ignoring the reactions of the pirates, Xiao Yin directly controlled the area where the floating ship slowly rose into the sky. It was too troublesome to control a boat, so it chose to directly control this seawater. Is this the ability of Lion Fruit? It is indeed called a natural disaster ability, and it is comparable to Whitebeard's Shock Fruit. 1. It's really curious how Xia Luo and Silverwing's Evil Star managed to share their abilities. Domino, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke. This is the biggest doubt surrounding everyone's minds, and it is also the secret that Marine and world government want to know most. We'll find out soon. The peacock's beautiful eyes stared closely at Xiao Yin, who was leading the way, and chuckled. These people didn't wait long, and soon the ship floated to Longyu Island. A group of leaders greeted the women who wanted to join to get off the boat, while the other pirates stayed on the boat. Standing on the island to greet them was Reiju. Reiju is responsible for everything here, and Xia Luo is happy to have her leisure time. Go down, I know your thoughts, I will inform Xia Luo. Reiju's expression remained calm and he spoke slowly in a calm tone. All the people in charge resigned one after another and took away all the pirates who had joined. These people were still confused. They didn't even see Xia Luo, but a woman appeared and said a few words to take them away. Doesn't Xia Luo attach great importance to them? He also sent Tian Weilong to meet them. Why are these women left behind now? Where are they going to take people like him? Their little eyes showed great doubts. Now they are beginning to wonder if they made the right choice. Will joining Xia Luo really have a bright future? But here, no one cares what they think. Hey, come here, everyone. After these people left, Reiju shook his head and sighed, and said to these hundreds of beauties. These women are undoubtedly very beautiful. In the world of pirates, women are polarized. The ugly ones are very ugly, and the rest are considered beautiful even if they are average. Not to mention that the rest here are carefully selected by the people in charge. Let me introduce myself first. I am Reiju, the person in charge here. I am responsible for everything here when Captain Xia Luo is away. If you have anything you want to ask, you can ask me. In addition, I will notify Xia Luo to come over and meet you. Whether you can be chosen by him depends on your own charm. Now come with me. These people in charge have really found a good job for Reiju. She doesn't know what to do with these women now. I thought there were just a few, but now it's better, hundreds of them came. Is this to squeeze Xia Luo into thousands? But that's not necessarily the case. With Xia Luo's physical fitness, he may not be the one who is drained. No matter what, let these people stay and settle down first. This is Reiju's idea. Wait, Sister Reiju. A girl with short yellow hair and a lively appearance stood out from the crowd and called out to Reiju in front of her. Reiju turned to look at her doubtfully. Do you have any question? Reiju looked at her calmly. The girl in front of her was wearing a light pink dress that highlighted her proud figure. Her lower body was wearing black stockings that almost reached her legs, a pair of high-heeled boots, and a small hat with goggles on her head. The warm and lively smile on her face made Reiju very fond of her, and she patiently asked the girl in front of her. Hello, let me introduce myself. I am a member of the Revolutionary Army. My name is Kral. I am here for the purpose of cooperation. I want to meet your captain Xia Luo. Kral placed her slender hands on her plump chest and spoke in a gentle tone. When the girl came up, she announced her home and stated her purpose. As soon as these words came out, they immediately attracted the attention of many people present. Revolutionary Army. At present, the biggest enemy of the world government is the Revolutionary Army. Big breaking news. Among these girls, there is also an informant of the news king Morgan's seed. If this news can be spread, it will definitely be news that will shock the whole world. 4 emperors Xia Luo and the Revolutionary Army unite to fight against the world's most powerful organization, the world government. What a gimmick news title. However, compared to these Morgan's undercover agents, the faces of Peacock and others on Marine's side are much uglier. This is not good news for them. Peacock is already thinking about how to destroy the possibility of cooperation between these two people. Do the wild dogs of the Revolutionary Army also want to seek the protection of the 4 emperors? Is it possible that your leader, who is known as the most vicious criminal in the world, can't protect you? Send a little girl to talk to Mr. Xia Luo. Peacock gently covered his red lips with the back of his hand and said with a contemptuous smile on his face. There is no harmony between the Revolutionary Army and the pirates. The Revolutionary Army will not only revolt in certain areas, but also attack some pirate criminals. Peacock's current identity is the pirate captain of the New World, so he can naturally show such a disdainful expression without revealing his secret. The easiest way is to provoke the relationship between the two and let them differentiate between superiors and subordinates. Xia Luo will definitely not succumb to others, and it is impossible for the Revolutionary Army to really join Xia Luo's command. This is her Peacock's plan. Reiju said nothing, just watching silently. Now she also realizes that there are probably many informants from various forces hidden among these people. No wonder there are so many young and beautiful girls who come from thousands of miles to New World just to join Xia Luo's fleet. She is now also seriously thinking about how to deal with these girls. Should I pretend not to know, or should I tell Xia Luo directly and let him make a decision? We come here to seek cooperation with sincerity. We all have a common enemy, which is the world government. If we can cooperate, our Revolutionary Army can provide you with weapons and intelligence. Before Reiju could make a decision, Kral spoke anxiously. She was afraid that Reiju would misunderstand something. The Revolutionary Army really came here with sincerity this time. Everything Xia Luo did before pushed him to oppose the government. In particular, the major events of the Sabodi archipelago allowed countless people to see that the so-called celestial dragons were real gods. These celestial dragons are just ordinary humans like themselves, but with an extra layer of identity and the blessing of the world government. And his idea of wanting to rule the world and reform the world is also inconsistent with the Revolutionary Army. Conspiring together. In terms of early cooperation, the Revolutionary Army and Xia Luo have a lot in common. Coupled with the strength shown by Xia Luo in Summit War, and Sabo's description, it made Long want to cooperate with Xia Luo. Kral, you are too anxious and should not reveal all your bargaining cards at once. Suddenly, among the crowd, there was a man with purple hair, a hot figure, a bob haircut with bangs, no underwear, an open shirt, and a red tie around his neck. The woman with a cigarette in her mouth came out and said slowly in a reproachful tone. Ah, I'm sorry, Bello Betty. As if Kral had reacted, he gently tapped his little head and stuck out his little tongue and said playfully. This woman with short purple hair is none other than Bello Betty, a cadre of the Revolutionary Army and the commander of the Eastern Army. Of course, the Revolutionary Army would not send just Kral to meet Xia Luo. Other men could not enter, so they could only ask the female Eastern Army captain to accompany him. Also coming with them was Ahiru, the vice captain of the Eastern Army, but Ahiru's appearance was too ordinary compared to the first two. The person in charge who met Nami and others felt that it was impossible for Xia Luo to like this person at all, so he rejected it directly. This made Axie very angry. Hello, Ms. Reiju, I am Belabeti, the captain of the East Convoy of the Revolutionary Army. As you can see, we come here with sincerity to seek cooperation. If possible, can Mr. Xia Luo meet with us and talk face to face? Bello Betty blew out a smoke ring and said with a serious face. It's not like they haven't tried sending people directly to find Hog and other people in charge of Haishu before. But these people in charge didn't care and just kicked them out. Even Reiju didn't know that anyone from the Revolutionary Army came to see them. In the eyes of Panpan and others, the Revolutionary Army was not as powerful as Xia Luo. How could boss Xia Luo cooperate with such forces, so he ignored them. Later, the Revolutionary Army had no choice but to ask for orders from Kral, so they sent these people to contact the person in charge above first. It's troublesome. Peacock frowned. She had never heard of Kral. In her eyes, he was just a minor figure in the Revolutionary Army. After all, the other party is not famous, but Bello Betty is different. Even in the New World, the captain of the Eastern Army is considered a big shot. The Revolutionary Army would actually send someone of this level to seduce someone. Cunning. Cunning. Whether you are from the Revolutionary Army or from other forces, come with me first. I will notify Xia Luo to come and meet you. Reiju only responded lightly to the sincere requests for cooperation from Bello Betty, Kral and others. This time it was Peacock's turn. The Revolutionary Army and others did not receive special treatment, which meant that she still had room to operate to obstruct them. As long as it is not a conversation alone, she may still prevent the two parties from cooperating. Okay, we get it. In response, the two beautiful girls from the Revolutionary Army frowned cutely and said slowly. Reiju's attitude can be said to be lukewarm, which makes them more uncertain about the possibility of future cooperation. They couldn't tell how willing Xia Luo was to cooperate.